A team that was in last place on January 3rd. The players on the bench are bouncing up. History will be made tonight in Boston. 15 seconds to go as Shen blocks a puck to the corner. 10 seconds remaining. Get up, St. Louis. Get on your feet. Raise them high. 5 seconds to go, and the time winds down. They did it. It's over. The game is over. The series is over. The wait is over. And the St. Louis Blues are the Stanley Cup Champions for the first time in franchise history.
Get ready to hear some noise tonight. You're just seconds away from Let's Go Blues Radio.
No doubt about it, eh? You're listening to Kurt, Bill, and Jeff on Let's Go Blues Radio, the original St. Louis Blues hockey fan podcast. Take it away, boys.
Come on, St. Louis hockey fans, stand up and cheer. The Blues are back strong. This is our year. It's the Blues' turn now.
I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yeah, it's the Blues' turn now. With that Al McKinnon slap shot, you know we can't lose. We are St. Louis, the home of the Blues. Come on, St. Louis. Come on, St. Louis. Come on, St. Louis.
Let's do that hockey.
Come on, St. Louis. All over the hockey universe, the note is the news. Everybody's digging on the St. Louis Blues.
Welcome to Season 7, Episode 52 of Let's Go Blues Radio. We are broadcasting live on Thursday, June 13th, 2019. This is franchise episode number 185 all time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Kurt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder, and we'll be with you for the next little while talking 2019 Stanley Cup Champions, St. Louis Blues hockey, as they defeated the Boston Bruins 4-1 in Game 7 to clinch their first ever Stanley Cup in franchise history. To interact with us on the social media, follow the show on Twitter at LGB Radio, at Kurt Price is mine, at Billy Blue Notes is Bill's, and at JPonder94 is Jeff's. Also follow us on the Instagram, like us on the Facebook, and the website is letsgoblues.com, where you can listen to past episodes, browse the discussion forum, as well as get some cool t-shirts, mugs, and stickers. Guys, the St. Louis Blues are Stanley Cup champions for 2019. How weird is that?
Yes.
I how many times have I said that today? And I'm just like, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, and it's true.
Yeah, it's still not fully sunk in. I don't think. I think the parade's gonna help, but it's still a dream. Like, this is, goddamn, I've been waiting 40 fucking years for this. And
I tweeted out last time. I don't know how to react. I don't know how to act right now.
Right.
I don't know what to do with myself.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I can find a couple things to do with my hands, but I really, it was such a strange, euphoric, unusual, weird feeling. It was so, like, it wasn't real. I mean, it's just so strange.
We have, this is how Blues fans have been, right? We are, it's synonymous with every season. Excuse me, I can't talk now. Helps when you're doing a podcast if you can talk. But every season ending with some bitter disappointment. And this it didn't happen.
Yeah, we've been to the well so many times,
right?
And come up empty,
right?
And
we're conditioned to act a certain way, and we don't have to act that way.
The phrase that you've been to the well so many times and come up empty. Can you imagine going to the well 51 times and you put the bucket down, bucket comes up, empty. On the 52nd time, bucket goes down, bucket comes up. Holy fuck, there's a bunch of water in it. Like, that's weird. How do you, okay, do I drink it? What do I do with it? I don't know. I forgot.
This is, it's incredible. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into where we all watched the games last night, but man, the guy next to me that I was sitting next to, older gentleman, and I looked at him and I'm like, hey man, I know I've been waiting a while. No offense, how long you been waiting? He goes, I was here in '67, game 1.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude, this is for you, man. This is like, I could sit here all day long and talk about how, 33 years, but for those people like Bobby Plager that have been around and sat and watched 52 years for them to be rewarded, it's an unbelievable feeling.
Tice Huck in the YouTube chat says, I just want to say I love you guys. I love everything you guys have done and the hard work and effort you guys have put into this. Truly one of St. Louis's best. Well, thank you very much, Tice. I appreciate that. We do.
That's
we all
very
appreciate
cool. Thanks, bud.
So yeah, it's so, so many, like I was in Florida for games 5 and 6, which was, the Disney with my kids was fun. It was great. It was, a really cool experience to see them experience Disney for the first time. But it was agonizing from a Blues fan's perspective because I was away from where I was supposed to be, right, for these games. But it was neat though, in the parks, wearing like a Blues t-shirt, Blues hat, and all the comments you get. I wasn't really ready for that kind of thing. I don't know why. I wasn't expecting it. But every 10, 15 minutes, you get somebody going, go Blues, out of nowhere. It's great.
Dude, it was fantastic. Again, we'll talk about where we were at last night, but I was downtown just walking around. And like when people are, leaving Busch Stadium or Ballpark Village, and you got the people coming the other way, going that way, and other people are heading down to Enterprise. It was every time you'd have like a mob of people coming towards each other because, the traffic lights or whatever, everyone was jumping up and down. Oh my God, go Blues. It was pandemonium. I've never witnessed anything like it. I'll never witness anything like this again. I count my blessings, honestly, that I was able to get downtown last night because, it was unreal to be downtown here.
Ponder is joining us from his vehicle this evening, so that's why the audio is a little different. So if anyone's wondering,
I will be back home here in a little bit. My chauffeur is going as fast as he can. Pick it up, Pepe.
Going to the airport, huh? Why are you going to the airport? Flying somewhere? Webster says, LOL, Blue fans got so drunk that they tried pushing the arch over last night. You see the video of that?
I heard that was happening.
Yeah, well, there was. Do you guys remember who it was that made a joke about if the Blues win the Cup, Blues fans will try and push the arch into the river?
Was it Hull?
Was it Hull? I forgot who it was. It might have been, but I assume that's what that was. People playing off that comment. I don't think Barstool Sports got that because I think Barstool Sports shared that video, kind of making fun of Blues fans. Oh, they're trying to push the arch over.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, they were. I'm pretty sure they were going. They were just, Hull's joke of a comment. They were just kind of playing off that.
Yeah. Well, Barstool Sports.
Oh my God.
There was a Facebook event for people to do that.
Was it really?
Yeah, I got invited. There was like something like 60,000 people said they were attending.
Oh, well, the video showed like 20.
Yeah, I did. I said I was attending, but I did not go to the arch to try and push it over.
Okay. What the beers of the episode, guys? I guess the celebratory beers.
So
I assume Bonder's not drinking one right now because he's driving. But
let me get across the state line here, and I will tell you what my beer is.
Yeah, well,
no, I'm not drinking right now. I will later.
If you're a passenger in Missouri, you can drink. Now in the drivers, that's a different story.
Right.
Okay. Bill, what do you got?
So I didn't go with anything necessarily celebratory, which I did put CBS in the fridge today because I thought that'd be a great beer for it. But a couple of thoughts went into this. I've got several Saison Delis from Perennial left over. This is what I was going to. This is what I was drinking. It's available. It's Enterprise Center. It's what I got while I was there for the 2 games. It's what I drank for really the second half of the series. And so decided got to go with the beer that got me here. And also, I've had a lot of beer today.
You got to dance with the beer you brought. or whatever.
Something
The saying like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I spent the afternoon on the golf course, so I had a few oat sodas out there.
Yeah, I definitely. I think I had my year's worth of beer last night.
I didn't have a ton last night. I had a few at Ballpark Village. I did get a celebratory Jameson, shot of Jameson.
Yeah.
From Biggs, the bartender. So
Nice.
thank you, sir, if you're listening.
Way to go, Chris Biggs.
I just went down to say hi and he gave me a shot of Jameson. So okay.
That's beautiful.
You know who I saw there last night? Kurt. I don't know if you saw him.
Paul
Jordan
Catanini.
Leopold.
Who?
Jordan Leopold was there last night.
Really?
Yeah, I just randomly saw him, and I'm like, I was with my buddies, and one of my buddies said, I think that's Jordan Leopold up there. And I'm like, what? Why? and it was. He was just sitting at the Shark Bar or stuff.
Oh,
he's got
to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he still lives in St. Louis.
My beer tonight is I have a Sam Adams beer tonight, and there's a reason behind that. It's Sam Adams Porch Rocker, which I like. But it's refreshing and it's a refreshing and tangy Radler. But I own this beer because I bought it, and so I own this beer like the Blues own Boston. So that's my theme with the beer tonight.
That's nice. That
Owning
is a
things.
nice tie-in.
I see what you did there. You're clever.
Yeah, well. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account, June 13th, 2019 is today's date. The one event on this date in Blues history listed is the NHL takes control of all assets of the St. Louis Blues and terminated the ownership of Ralston Purina on June 13th, 1983. How far we've come since the dark ages of that fiasco. Oh, that mess.
Right.
We almost lost the team.
Didn't send anybody to the draft. We had a pretty high pick that year, I believe.
We traded it away.
Yeah.
The first round pick was traded away.
Yeah. Well,
So we didn't lose the first round pick anyway.
Yeah.
But still.
yeah. But still.
Yeah.
If we would have had competent management at all.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it was Yzerman was in that draft. I forget who else. Hasek was in that draft.
Yeah, but they went first round. Didn't they?
But I'm just saying, if we had
Right.
competent management,
No.
going into that season.
Yes. No, I agree. And so some interesting stats that the STL Blues History Twitter account posted today after the Blues won the Cup last night. Alex Pietrangelo is the first defenseman in NHL history to have a goal and an assist in a Stanley Cup Final Game 7, which I found surprising.
That is quite surprising.
I mean, there aren't a whole lot of Final Game 7s, but I mean,
Right.
So
Edmonton have a few. You would think that Paul Coffey would be up there.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but, or I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
But there haven't been that many Game 7s in a Stanley Cup
right.
final.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, not a ton of them. So, and Jordan Binnington is the first NHL rookie goalie to have multiple Game 7s with a save percentage of .965 or higher. So you can,
Ridiculous.
if you believe in clutch performance, that's it.
The guy broke Patrick Waugh.
Rookie goaltender wins in a playoff.
Ron Hextall was on that list, but the reason why I was a Patrick Waugh fan was his rookie run in '86. Getting the Canadians, I mean, they won the Cup, but Brian Hayward played one of those games and won one of those games.
Yep.
But apart from that, it was Patrick Waugh. That's the reason why I loved him. And Jordan Binnington, I mean, he didn't look like a rookie at all. No. He looks like a season better.
He hasn't looked like a rookie since he started playing this season. And which is it's funny because that's what everybody who watches him play notices and says, oh, well, he's unflappable. I mean, after a game that he loses or allows one or two he wants back, he bounces back very well. He doesn't have long stretches of poor play, and which coming up from which is the issue we had with Allen before him. Allen would look like a world beater for a handful of games, and then all of a sudden go into the tank for a month. So, I mean, that is so refreshing to have that in net right now.
I just one thing I want to add to what Bill said. Bill said that it's the rookie performance by Waugh. That's what made him love Waugh, and I'm guessing that was a big reason you became a goaltender. And that's exciting for me, I think, and I think all the city of St. Louis, and really any hockey fan, because you think about it, how many kids saw his performance, and how many kids are woke up today and said, "Man, I want to be a goalie. I want to do what that guy just did," and it's exciting. I mean, we talk about how we've been fans for so long and how we waited for this. Think about the youth that got involved in this playoff run and the impressions that were made.
Mandarin Melon in the YouTube chat says, "Who's the guy video conferencing from the haunted house?" It's funny because sometimes the camera shows nothing but like black and brown splotches.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's fine. He also says
better than a weekly look.
He also says Bennington from nobody to household name in 5 months.
Yeah.
Or less. I mean, really, because he was a household name in St. Louis after a few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, shit, 2 months.
Yeah.
The playoffs.
Right. No kidding. Man. So, okay. And next point was the St. Louis Blues had 7 playoff games with 2 minutes or less in penalties, which is the most in NHL playoff history. Yeah. Yet we're a dirty, awful bunch of bastard players on this team.
Yeah.
So dirty.
Doesn't fit somebody's narrative.
Not at all. Not at all. And last night was the 7th time in the 2019 playoffs the St. Louis Blues had 1 penalty or less. In their previous 365 playoff games, they had a total of 6 games with 1 penalty or less. So in this playoff run this season, they had more games with fewer penalties than they had in their previous 365 playoff games combined. Isn't it crazy?
That's insane.
That's nuts.
They're such headhunters, though. God damn. I mean, they're obviously paying the ref.
Oh yeah, nobody wants us to win.
Right.
They're against us.
Right. There's
we're headhunters.
Chris Rudy ref the last 2 games. He's from Boston, but we paid the refs.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
I did see, so just random factoid here. When we were at the game on Sunday night, Tim Peel walked right past me. He was there as a fan.
Did you ask him how his junk was doing?
I did that. I did that. But yeah, I recognized him immediately, and yeah, I thought it was interesting that he was there in an unofficial capacity, but he's a
unofficial capacity.
He's
I like
a St.
that.
Louis resident.
Let's play on words.
Yeah,
unofficial. Keith Price, YouTube chat, my brother, says a Boston sports radio was interesting today. It was. I was listening to it off and on today. The 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston. You talk about a bunch of jackholes. Oh my God. And I'm not trying to. Not saying that because they're Boston guys, but man, they were irate. I mean, okay, yeah, you lose game 7, you're upset, right? But man, there were some bad takes today. Just whiny rants. The better team didn't win this series and junk like that, the whiny, sore loser aspect of it.
Yeah.
Which I was
that phrase is what in football, in even a 5-game series in baseball. Yeah, the worst team can win that. Game 7, this went 7 games, a 7-game series. I'm sorry, the best team always wins.
Yeah.
But we cheated to win.
Yeah.
We cheated. Noel Acciari got tripped by Tyler Bozak, and the refs didn't call it, and we scored. So we cheated.
And the Bruins choked. They should have won this series. The first line choked. It was on Boston. It wasn't even nothing the Blues did. Right. It was Boston's choking. The Blues didn't shut them down.
They didn't have a single 5-on-5 point.
They had
until game 6.
Right. That was their first 5-on-5 goal. And it was a garbage. Well, it was already 3-1. It was already pretty much over. What, 5-6 minutes to go, 3-1. Right. And that was Pasternak's goal.
And we forgot to cover Pasternak again.
Yeah, right. But I mean, so yeah. And that's telling. The Blues played fantastic shutdown hockey. The Blues set the initial record for longest stretch without a penalty at 136 minutes and 20 seconds in the 2019 playoffs. So again, bunch of head-hunting bastards setting records for no penalties.
It's because we paid the refs.
And the officiating is terrible, which I'm not going to say is wrong.
Right.
It's pretty bad,
No,
but it's bad. But it's bad universal.
The officiating has a complete black eye.
Oh,
after this
NHL,
postseason.
I'll tell you, I've said this before, and we've talked about this a lot. But the NHL officiating is bad. It's always been bad. This is nothing new. This is not all of a sudden favoring one team, or all of a sudden they're awful and there's an outrage. It's always been bad. I've been a fan for as long as I can remember, and 30 some odd years, 40 years, and the officiating has. You listen to Sports Talk Radio or the gripes and whatever you read, it's always officiating is terrible, and that's just the way it's always going to be. The nature of the sport, it leads to poor officiating, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I don't know what people. It's almost like every time there's a game, people are up in arms about officiating, like it's a new thing, like they're shocked. I mean, yeah, bitch and complain about the officiating, that's fine, but don't act like it's anything new. It's been this way for a long time. In the 2019 playoffs, the St. Louis Blues averaged 2.88 goals per game, averaged 2.69 goals against per game. The difference of 0.19 is the smallest for a Stanley Cup champion, going back to the 4 rounds of best of 7, which started in 86-87. So, yeah, a lot of tense games in the playoffs this season. A lot of 1-goal, 2-goal games. So it was the Blues didn't have a big margin of victory in many games at all.
No,
which made it for that much more of an exciting playoff run, I guess.
Yeah,
that was some of the takes I heard, was that the Bruins were the better team because the games they won, they blew them out. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, the Blues won more games. That's what matters. I mean, yeah, you might win a game 5-1, but if you win 4 games 2-1, you're the better team.
Yeah, I a lot of that stuff to me is just people looking for ways to credit their team and not give credit to the Blues. Well, we were better in this many aspects of the series, so we were really the better team. We just didn't get the breaks. And I'm like, I'm sorry. We've been through all of that. We've been through not getting the breaks. We've had a number of years where we had teams that were good enough to win a cup, but it just didn't fall in place for us in that season for whatever reason. So cry me a river with any complaining. Some Boston fans have been fine and great. I talked to a guy last night at Ballpark Village and he was. I shook his hand. I said, my condolences, and he was like, "Oh, congratulations." He was a fine person. So I'm not referring to all Boston fans, but I think it's just the loudmouths, the keyboard warriors, if you will, that have a big mouth online. So
it's the loudest are the ones that are hurt. It's
like
not.
I've never seen so many keyboard tough guys in my life.
Keyboard guys.
Thank you for joining us, Jamie.
Jamie Rivers, ladies and gentlemen. So another thing in the Blues overcame in this series, the Blues finished the 2019 playoffs with a penalty kill of 75.4%. That is the lowest penalty kill percentage of any Stanley Cup winner since 86-87, when the NHL expanded to best of 7 for all 4 rounds of the playoffs. So they overcame that. That's why every time everybody was saying the Blues need to keep it 5-on-5, they have to. And in Game 7, when it came down to it, I knew this was going to happen. The officials were going to put the whistles away, and they were only going to call blatant, obvious penalties like breakos over the glass delay game. They have to call that. Or somebody gets a high stick and cut, have to call that if they see it. They're not going to call the hook or the hold unless it really pulls somebody down on a blatant scoring chance. They're just not going to do it.
Right.
And I thought that worked against Boston because the Blues were a better 5-on-5 team, much better.
Oh, completely throughout the entire series. Yeah. And that's we've got the rebroadcast of the game going.
We're at 8:52 of the first period. No score.
We've killed the only penalty of this game, which was a mandatory penalty because he shot the puck out.
You have to call it.
I just quick aside, as soon as he shot the puck out, I took my Parayko jersey off and threw it across the room.
Did you really?
I did.
I was like, son of a...
The puck did not roll on him. He was just nervous as hell and launched it.
Yeah.
But there's a great video from Gerard, Dutch Blues fan, who is currently at OB Clark's, and Parayko's partying.
Oh, he's
right with everybody. So
isn't that where they were today? The Blues? They were.
That's where they've been all day, and they are still there. Apparently,
yeah. Well, it's gonna go for a while.
It's gonna go until Saturday morning, I believe.
I think Edmondson had a cutoff shirt on and
wearing it was an O'Reilly jersey that was cut into a tank top.
And a Maroon had a jacket and pants on with no shirt on underneath the jacket. So somebody called the St. Louis tuxedo.
The South County tuxedo.
Nice.
You got to get one of those, Jeff.
So okay. So our last show, I believe, was after game 4. I think it was. So I was in, like I said, I was in Florida for games 5 and 6. Chara played this game with a broken jaw in game 5. Which was like shocking to me. I didn't think he was going to play. Kudos to this guy for playing. I was actually not. I was not that upset that he was playing because I didn't think he was overly effective before he hurt his jaw, and I'm thinking he'll be even less effective now. I mean,
at the end of the day, I think he was surprisingly effective wearing that shield. It took him about a half period before I felt like he was decent again. There were a couple times he lost the puck in his in his lower periphery, but surprisingly effective playing like that.
In the first period of game 5, Bozak had that chance in tight from the centering pass from behind the goal from Maroon that they reviewed. It somehow stuck to the end of Rask's pad.
Yeah,
as he was going down.
Yeah,
I don't know how that didn't go in. That I've seen the replay. I'm like that goes in 99 times out of 100. I don't know how that stuck to his pad. But unfortunate, but still. Second period, less than a minute into the second period, O'Reilly scores from Sanford. A fantastic pass from Sanford behind the back, through the legs, as he's going behind the goal to O'Reilly in front, who puts it by Rask.
Beautiful backhand shelf.
Just money. And then later in the second period, Krejci saves the day with with 10 seconds to go in the second period. Slides behind Rask to make a chest save on Pietrangelo
with a wide empty.
Oh yeah, that puck was.
Net.
I mean, he put it high. Pietrangelo did everything right.
Yep.
And Krejci saved the day, getting his chest in the way. Would have made it 2-0, but it didn't happen. So third period. This. I mean, I didn't want to really talk too much about game 5, but the trip was in this game, so I figured we should talk about that. With 13 minutes to go in the third period, Pasternak had a wraparound attempt. And Krejci speared Bennington. Well, this is. Oh, that was. What was that?
Trippy.
Jeff,
you were at the fish show last night. You were at Enterprise Center.
The Pasternak's wraparound attempt. Bennington stopped, and I want to mention this because the bar I was in Florida, the ESPN club, the Boston fans were adamant that was in. That was a big goal. And I'm like, yeah, I'm even if it went in, they pushed his pad in. So I don't Krejci speared Bennington's pad, pushing his pad in the net. And if that puck did go in, which it didn't, then the Blues are going to challenge that for goal interference, and they're going to win it. Because you can't push the goalie's pad in the net, and yeah, you can't do that.
Right.
I even said that. I said that to the guy next to me, and he didn't have a lot to say about it, and he just kept saying, "No, it's in." I'm like, I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't. First off, it's not. I'm looking at it, and second, if they did say it was in, then it's not going to count anyway. But
Where
then
we are in the rebroadcast here,
yeah,
we've gone 12 minutes without a shot now.
I'm muting you, Jeff, because you're making a lot of noise there. So
I'm good now.
okay.
Back in studio. Hey, real quick on that trip. What we actually haven't talked to Trip. Sorry. Why don't I just say this, Bill? Bill, why don't you give us a little play-by-play of the game there?
He's no John Kelly.
I am no John Kelly. I am no Chris Kerber.
Man, I'll say this, and listen, I know we're going to get to this, I guess, maybe later, but I was happy that Chris Kerber called last night. I like John Kelly. I know it's a big thing with getting Dan Kelly in there, and it being a father-son thing, but man, I just love Chris Kerber's calls. That was a perfect call for Game 7.
Yeah, he did a good job. Yeah, the excitement. You always love it when you hear the actual raw excitement and then the genuine excitement in an announcer's voice. As much as I like Doc Emmerich, he did a fine job. I always liked him, but Kerber is just like extra loud, extra excited, just fun to hear. But no, the trip. So yeah, the trip. That with the score 1-0, Achari was tripped by Bozak. I don't think there's any question whether he was tripped. Oh yeah, it was tripped. But I think the question has been raised whether he embellished the trip. So once he was tripped, did he jump to embellish the trip as he was going down? Which, personally, you guys may disagree, which is fine, but personally, I don't know. I'm not going. I can't. It looks like he might, but I don't know. No one knows for sure if he did, because he went down goofy. He did kind of jump, I guess, but did he do it on purpose to embellish? I don't know. I thought it should have been a penalty and the trip, but I don't think there's any way they can call an embellishment.
No, and that's the thing about that one that a lot of people were saying, like you said, that they thought that it was embellished, and it could have been. I don't know, and I'm basically going to agree with you, Kurt, because I think that at first I was like, man, he kind of dove, and then I watched the replay. I thought, I don't think he knew Bozak was there. I think it was just kind of a taking him off by surprise kind of thing.
I think he did.
And
he peeks. He sees Bozak.
Yeah, I think it was last minute though. I think when the skate touches him, I don't think he really was ready for anything to touch him. And we've all three of us have been on ice skates. The slightest tap sometimes in the back of your foot can cause you to go head over heels. So it's hard for me to say, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. It should have been a trip. It wasn't. Bad calls happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was a bad call. And the official's looking right at it.
Right.
The puck's there.
Kelly Sutherland was right there.
Yeah. Oh, and the replay shows him looking right at it.
Right, and he didn't ref another minute after that game.
Yeah, it was a bad call.
Right, that's Game 5. Chris Rooney and Gord Dwyer got the next 2 games. So,
did you think it was embellished, Bill?
I couldn't tell.
I think we all agree it was a trip. Yes.
Right.
But what did he embellish to make it worse than it was?
So the end of his fall seemed very accelerated. Like the way his leg whips over top. Yeah. I don't know if he just got to like a fulcrum point that set him that fast. It was I can see why people would say that it was embellished. I don't know if he did, but another point that I want to bring up about this, within the previous 5 minutes of play, not that egregious, but Steen got slew-footed in the corner, and there was no call. So same end of the ice. Kelly Sutherland's there. He's probably got the mental tickler going, saying, "Hey, Boston got away with one there. I'm not going to call something again." Should he have called the Bozak trip? Yeah, probably. I don't think you get a freebie because there was a similar play, but I almost wonder if that's not what he was thinking. Oh, and also Boston employs Brad Marchand.
Yeah, I know.
Who takes people's legs out.
I know.
Yeah, game 6. I don't want to get into that yet, but yeah, he slew-footed Petro in game 6.
He absolutely did. One could, and it was worse, in my opinion, because it was an intentional. I mean, from what I can tell, it looked intentional to me that he intentionally went on a trip. Now, Bozak, we say it was an intentional trip. I mean, Bozak made a play on the puck.
Right. Bozak was more bang bang. He attempted to make a play on the puck.
Marchand did not make a play on the puck whatsoever. So, and Pietrangelo never saw him coming.
Right.
And so the falls were different. And Pietrangelo gets up and plays afterwards.
Right. Which is the key to all you whiny Boston bitches. Your team has to play to the whistle.
That's one thing that was brought up quite a bit, was that it happened too frequently where when the Boston players would get hit, they would go down looking for a call and they wouldn't get up and play. And this happened here. So where he was looking for a call. So
the picture.
No, I agree with you, but I mean, you can't do that.
Right. You can't stop playing.
Right.
I mean, if he's hurt, maybe, but
yeah. And he hit his head on the ice. I mean, his helmet came down on the ice. So, I mean, it was a hard fall, but again, you go back to, did he leap into the fall too? And I'm trying to guess. I'm trying to also maybe rationalize why the official didn't make the call. Maybe he thought he embellished. So he's like, you know what? I'm not going to call a trip and embellishment. No, I'm calling nothing. Maybe that was the rationale.
The point about him not playing to the whistle. First of all, I'll read a couple of comments here from the YouTube chat. It's the Stanley Cup. He needs to get up and play, from Keith Price. Our good friend Scuba says, yes, because they stopped playing looking for a call. Josh Webster says, you play to the whistle like you were taught in Pee Wee. What do they want the Blues to do? Stop playing too? And then new chat, looks like we got from F117 Nighthawk, play until the whistle. And yeah, that's exactly what we're all saying here. It's that, the picture of him on one knee and the Blues players celebrating behind him.
Yep.
First of all, that's my new phone background. It's fantastic. But I mean, you think about how much time passed, and you watch the play develop after he falls. He has time to get up, get on one knee, look around, and then the Blues score, and he's still sitting there on one knee. If I'm the coach, I know that I'm pissed. Okay, yeah, there should have been a call there. But if I'm Cassidy, I'm saying, get your ass off the rink. You're done in the playoffs. I'm not playing you again. Like, that's bullshit. You got to play into the whistle. You got to play for your teammates.
I think the video of Cam Neely throwing a fit in the press box is also kind of a gem. And then Boston fans littered the ice with some trash. So there's
a lot of memes and gifs going around of the Cam Neely one, but I think the best was the one I saw where it was him. He takes the water bottle and he throws it, and then it cuts to him in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
and he gets up. Who threw that?
One dead man hit me with a salt shaker. He's bad, Seabass.
Oh, nice.
Kick his ass, Seabass.
Love it.
That was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, and listen, Blues fans, we've thrown trash on the ice before. It's happened. I get it, but it just doesn't look good for the city of Boston when your team president's throwing water bottles, people are throwing trash, and then in the meantime, you've got everyone in Boston, it seems, on social media jumping on and talking about how the Blues are dirty and they're trash, and it looks so bad for Boston. It's like they know it and they don't even care.
That's so bad. I mean, you have Brad Marchand on your team. You cannot bitch and complain about, the other team is so dirty. You've got Brad fucking Marchand, one of the dirtiest guys in the league.
He licks people.
He slew foots. He's a dick. I mean, Boston fans probably love him, but he's a good player. He's a real good player. Fantastic player.
Right.
But
he majorly toned down the antics.
He did.
And
he did.
And that coincided with him being a much better player, but he's a dick.
Oh yeah. Well, and it comes out every now and then, you know. The slew foot, the trip on Pietrangelo, same thing. I mean, I don't want to. I'm trying not to come off as biased here when I compare the trip on Pietrangelo, the trip on Atari. But I mean, I thought Marchand's was worse. I'm sorry. I mean, the Bruins didn't score a goal right after. Like the Blues scored on their trip, but I mean,
well, here's the thing: if the Blues don't score that goal. Nobody. I mean, yeah, people are pissed. I'm sure they're booing, but nobody's talking about it.
Right.
It's because the Blues scored that they're talking. If Marchand slew foots Pietrangelo and then the Bruins score, that's all we're talking about.
No, I agree with you, and they should talk about it because it should have been a penalty. I mean, I'm not. I turned to the lady who was a Boston Bruins fan at my right at the bar, and I said, I'm sorry. I'll apologize for the officials. That was a penalty. Should have been called. And I also said, but I don't really care. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'll take it. I'm not gonna. But I feel for you because it should have been a penalty.
First of all, we got a couple comments I want to say here. Josh Webster says Jeff Ponder with no beard. What do the Blues win the cup or something? Hell freeze over. Yeah, crazy, huh? I shaved the whole thing off today, so feels good, Bill. I know you feel good too.
Yeah, how long did it take you? I was telling Kurt before right before you came on that it took me about 20 minutes to get rid of the whole thing.
It took about a good 20 minutes probably. I actually, for those interested, I did post it on Twitter. I took a time-lapse video of me shaving the beard off.
I kind of did, but I didn't post it to social media.
It's set to Gloria, so it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I just threatened to go with the porn stash for a while. Sent that to the girlfriend, and she.
I also wanted to add F-117 Nighthawk also says, and getting back to the trip didn't, and this is something I was saying, the trip didn't end the game like the hand pass did. It should have been a penalty, but the Bruins still had time before and after the trip to score more. That call didn't decide the game. And that's my point. Like when people were complaining about that, and then I'd say, yeah, that's bullshit, but then they'd say, I'd say, well, it happened to us, hand pass. Oh, it's not the same thing. Yeah, it's worse. That decided a game.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's the fallacy of the predetermined outcome, because they assume that Corrali is still going to score the goal that he scores.
Right.
No, that changes every other play the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's the butterfly effect. It was one thing changes. You wipe the slate. You wipe the slate of what happens after that play because everything is different.
Right.
Everything. It's not like it happened right at the end of a period where you can start the slate clean at the next period. No, everything's different. So who knows what happens? The Blues still have a 1-0 lead. Maybe Boston doesn't score on the power play if they get a power play. Maybe the Blues score after the power play is over. Maybe the Blues get a shorthanded goal. You don't know what happens. I mean, it cost Boston a chance to tie on the power play. That's what you can say. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it didn't cost them the game. Anybody who says it cost Boston the game is
an entitled Boston sports fan.
Entitled Boston sports fan. But which there are a lot of. And I can see where that happens because they've got 13. They've had teams in 13 championships in the last 13 seasons, something like that, if you add them all up. So I mean, they're getting spoiled, and they are the evil empire now. It's not New York. It hasn't been New York in a long time. It's been Boston for a long time. In this game too,
ever since they broke the curse in 2004,
right, against the Cardinals. So and in this game, Marchand slashes a stick out of Binnington's hand. Remember that? Took it out in the corner, and that happened too. That wasn't called. So I mean, Blues fans could be irate and say the Blues should got power play on that one. But granted, I'm not going to complain about the Blues not getting a power play because that did nothing but kill momentum and change the momentum in the wrong way when we get power plays in the playoffs. DeBrusque got one for Boston with about 6.5 minutes to go in the game 5 to cut the lead 2-1. But the Blues held on, leave the series 3-2.
Was it DeBrusque? I keep confusing him and Corrali.
Pretty sure it was DeBrusque.
I can't tell you how many times I've called him Louis DeBrusque during the series.
He's a kid.
Game 6. This was lost this one 5-1.
Yep,
Bill was at this game.
Sure did.
Bill spent his hard-earned money on this game and didn't even get to celebrate the goal the Blues scored, really, right? I mean, you did, but you didn't. It wasn't like that. Oh my gosh, they scored! It was
right, and that's what I tweeted the morning after. Just the nothing. It was a game where nothing went right, and it felt like everybody. There was just this sense of anticipation that when the Blues scored, that was going to get them going. But the one goal that they scored, nobody in the building knew went in the net.
Nobody, not even O'Reilly.
Right,
he didn't react at all.
Right, and so we never got a chance to blow the roof off the joint. We never got a chance to get the energy in the building.
Yeah,
and it was. God, just felt like so many missed opportunities.
Yeah, you know what? I thought this game through the first 2 periods was rather even. The Boston was up 1-0, but I thought Boston played a pretty good game. I thought the Blues had a number of good chances, but not a lot of second opportunities. Like not a lot of good rebound chances, not a good flurries where they had 1, 2, 3 shots. It was usually one and done. Rask made some fantastic. He had Pietrangelo hits the post, and then McAvoy hits it out of midair, and then it's off of his back, and then he makes a save with his glove on the back, and then knocks it out the other side. That could have been a goal easily, and that would have been 1-1.
Right, and that was right in front of us.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. The other thing to remember about this game, it was only 1-0 going into the third period.
Yeah, and that's. I told the guy sitting next to me, the Boston fan, I was like, whoever scores next to win this game. I mean, if it's 2-0 Boston, they're going to want to win. If it's 1-1, I think we got momentum and we're going to win this game. But obviously it didn't work out that way. I mean, Boston scored and scored again. So
well, it did work out that way because Boston did score and they did go on to win.
No, I mean, it didn't work out for the Blues if they didn't score next. So, but yeah, correct.
Right. The bounce shot from Carlo. I mean, it's fluky goal.
It's
fluky goal, not a soft goal.
No,
fluky goal.
It's a fluky goal. Bennington's comments after the game, one of the reporters asked him, "What happened on the second goal?
Did you see it bounce?
Did you see it bounce?" He goes, "Yeah,
good eye,
good eye."
Loved it.
I think who was it? Melrose called Bennington a terrible interview. I think it's a fantastic interview. I think he's got the best little one-liner, like quick little quirks. I love it.
Yep.
You do not get usually don't get the typical canned just gotta take it one game at a time response from him. It's usually something just 1 or 2 words, and it's just kind of just that's funny. So Marchand got a power play goal to put the Bruins up 1-0 in the first. Then Pietrangelo hits the post.
It's 5-on-3. Don't forget
the 5-on-3 power play goal. Right. Which that sucked. And
I hated that we had to have the same old conversation because the troll came out on Binnington, said tired of not hearing about people talking about how bad Binnington is during games when he's bad. He wasn't bad that game.
Oh, right. No, I know. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, I remember now.
He was not bad that game. It was
no. It was a fluky goal, and it was
and then it was a game that got
5-on-3 goal. Right. Yeah, and it got away late. He could have stood on his head some more and made a few more amazing saves, but it didn't happen. So, I did not. I didn't like the bounce goal. It's a fluky goal, but I don't like it.
No.
I thought it was a bad goal to give up at the time. It's bad timing for that goal to go in. Whatever. They weren't winning that game anyway. With that, I don't think with that goal. After that you take away that bounce goal, I don't think it was in the cards for them in the third period. It just wasn't falling their way.
They didn't have energy, and the ice was god awful.
Yes, it was. The whole series.
Yeah. Well, in last night. It was terrible in Boston.
Yeah.
But the that was one thing we noticed. So ice conditions, playing hockey in the middle of June in St. Louis.
Right.
It was 85 degrees, 90% humidity. It was awful outside.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring 18,000 people into the building and they're all down there way early. The ice got shit real fast. The ice was no good by the end of warm-ups. They couldn't restore it. It was so muggy, so humid.
Coleman picked a corner on Bennington and kind of sealed the deal for Boston, put them up 3-0. O'Reilly scored the Blues' only goal, which we talked about. Shot on goal reviewed. Nobody seemed to know went in until they reviewed it, and it did go in. So giving the Blues a glimmer of hope, 3-1. But
Boston scores right away.
Yeah, Boston scores right away. Pastrnak scored on the only even strength goal for the top line was that Pastrnak scored to make it 4-1 in the series. Then Chara got the empty net goal to make it 5-1. And again, reminder, this was a game that was 1-0 going into the third. So anyway, and that was hard to watch. I mean, that was that game. It's set up to win at home. Could have won the cup at home. We had, the watch party I was at the ESPN Club in Florida was, I posted a picture of it on Twitter. There had to have been, I don't know, 75 Blues fans in this bar. There were probably about a dozen Boston fans at least. So Blues were heavily represented, much more so than Boston at this bar. In Game 5, it was like even, probably about 10-12 each, something like that. But the Blues really showed up for Game 6.
Yeah, Game 5, I went to Kirkwood Ice and Fuel, which was awesome. We had a great time.
I've been there a few times.
Yeah, I actually never been there. It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's a neat bar.
The only thing that stinks is they got a Blackhawks jacket hanging up. I'm not really sure why.
Is it really?
Yeah, I don't really get that. But it's a nice bar for anyone to want to give a shout out to them. They were fantastic, and the crowd was lively. It was fun. Game 6, we went to Hot Shots Manchester. Bunch of friends and I had a little watch party going, and that was not fun. We had a terrible time.
Yeah, I had to sit next to a Boston fan in Game 6. I did in Game 5 too, but we won, so it was better. But in Game 6, it was just he got drunk at the end, so it was. I mean, he was nice enough, but it was just. I just hated hearing the took that they started chanting whenever Rask made a save. That was, but whatever. I can look back on that now and smirk because we won the series. So Game 7, where Bill, you watched from home, right?
I did.
Jeff,
you watched from Enterprise at the watch party, as did I.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my friend John, listener of the show, for inviting me. He got 2 tickets and 4 tickets actually, and invited my wife and I. So that was. My wife didn't want to go anywhere after Game 6. She said, "We're not going anywhere because every time we leave, they lose." Honestly, the only exception was Game 5. Every other time we've gone out for a game, they've lost. So she was hell bent on not going, to the point where I even had another friend invite me, just me, and I asked her. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I go to Enterprise?" And she goes, "You got to stay home." And like, she's not like that. And she's like, "They're gonna lose if you go out." And I'm like, God damn it. Because I was like, I see her point, but oh my God, I want to go somewhere. I don't want to just sit at home and watch it. And so then when my buddy had the 2 tickets, I'm like, you know what? Executive decision. I'm making her go. And I told her, she was not happy, but I'm like, I don't care. We're going. Already got us a babysitter. We're going. And it was funny because when they won, I even said, "Aren't you freaking glad that I made you go?" And she said, "Yes, I'm really glad we did because we had a great time."
It was I've heard people say, and I agree with this, that that crowd was the loudest crowd they've ever heard inside that building, and the team wasn't even there.
Yep, it was nuts.
It was. I mean, when the towel man was counting off the goals, everyone, during regular season games and other playoff games, people just yell that the crowd was screaming as loud as they could with every 1, 2, 3. I mean, I had never. Usually it's like 1, 2, 3. You just say it kind of loud. No, the people were screaming. It was so loud. It was just that aspect of it. Kind of like I was like, wow, holy cow.
Yeah, I was amazed. I mean, the third period, when the third period started, my whole section was already standing, and I'm like, oh my god, because it is one of those things where it just kind of hits you and says, 20 minutes. They've got 20 minutes, and the whole section was going nuts. I had this group of little girls behind me that were just crying their eyes out for the third period because it was just that exciting. And oh my God, that atmosphere, that is, and I said the same thing, Kurt, that was the loudest I have ever heard a Blues game, and the players weren't even there.
It was funny. Because when the Blues got the first goal and the second goal, and then you're watching the clock. You're like, okay, how much time's left? And then you're halfway through. Okay, 10-minute mark, halfway through the games. Okay, got 2-0 lead. And then all of a sudden, third period starts, 20 minutes to go, and the end of the game keeps getting closer and closer. And I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, if they get off, I mean, I'm trying to like. What am I going to do? How am I going to? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to. I don't know how I'm going to act.
That was kind of the joke, and I'm sure you guys probably said the same thing that we had last night. We'll get to our little, post party discussion, I'm sure, in a bit. But we kept saying that to each other. My buddy Johnny's like, hey, where do you want to go? I don't know, man. I've never been here before. That was the thing we kept saying. What do you want to do now? I don't know. I've never been here before.
First period was the Jordan Binnington show. As great as this game ended, it didn't start off. I mean, goaltending wise, it was fantastic for Binnington, but the Blues, Boston took it to the Blues early. First half of the game. But I mean, I can't. It was. I turned and I was like, this is not good. I mean, this was halfway through the first period. I'm like, the Blues need a jolt. They need someone to make a play. They need to change the tide of this game because Boston is coming in waves, and they're getting a lot of good looks and a lot of good scoring chances, and Binnington is keeping this game scoreless.
Binnington was the guy that made the plays that turned the game.
Yeah, he was. He ended up and took the Blues a while to rally behind him.
Right. I mean, so we just watched the first period, so it's a little fresh, right? But yeah, so. We had a good first few shifts.
Yes, the first 3 minutes was good,
and then we got the shot on goal from Schwartz. I think it was blocker save, punched way up in the air, and Tarasenko couldn't get the rebound on goal. After that, it was 12 minutes. Was it 12 minutes or was it 16 minutes before our next shot on goal? And like you said, Boston came in waves, and we couldn't handle the puck in our own zone. Parayko flies the puck.
That was when I thought the Blues were doomed.
Yep.
Yeah,
when that happened, I'm like, oh God, this is it here.
Yeah, like I said, took my jersey off, threw it across the room. Like, come on. And then they kill it off. Great, all the great saves by Binnington through the first period. The Stanford turnover, then Johansson getting the mini breakaway, and Binnington being there to stop it. Just everything worked perfectly.
I honestly would put his game in Game 7. I put that up there with any goalie performance in the history of the league. He was the sole reason they won that game. If he gives up even one of those goals, I think it's a completely different game, and I think the Blues lose.
I would not disagree with that.
He had 3 monster saves in that first period.
Yeah, and they're showing them all right now. The Marchand power play shot from the slot where he split slides across.
Yep, and almost goes in his arm, but it rattles around and he pins it. Right. And Boston Sports Talk Radio today was all over Marchand today for a number of reasons because he shot that one.
Right,
he shot it back into him.
Yeah,
because he had a half minute to shoot at, and he shot it on the right side where Binnington already was.
Yep.
And of course there's the line change that
oh my God. Again, if I am Cassidy, I don't care who you are fucking done on my team. Terrible.
First off, it's not like there's 30 seconds to go and you're making a line change. You're changing with 10 seconds to go in the period. Why? The puck's going into your end. You're changing with 10 seconds to go. What do you hope to accomplish by changing? Skate your ass. I mean, I'm not complaining, but if I was a Boston fan, I'd be like, why change with 10 seconds to go? That doesn't make any sense.
And it took me a long time to get over Colton Wong's foobar and
first base.
The first base pickoff.
Yeah,
that it took me a long time to get over that. I would imagine I mean, even though Marchand's done so much and scored so much, and he's kind of embody the entire Boston persona in his game, it would take me a long time to get over that play, because I think that was the backbreaker. I mean, you talk about goals in the ends of periods and beginning of periods, just killing momentum, and that was one of them. I mean, not only was it just a backbreaking, oh my God, I can't believe they're down 2-0 at the end of the first goal. It was a what the hell is he thinking goal.
Yeah,
terrible by him.
It's not like there's 30 seconds to go and he's gassed and needs to get off. There's 10 seconds to go. Right. The period's over. I mean, you skate your ass off. The puck, they're bringing the puck into your zone. I don't understand. He said he didn't see him there. He didn't see Pietrangelo there, but I was like, okay, that's just, you're not being aware on the ice then of your surroundings, because that's just a bad play.
I mean, you got to figure that even the bench is probably yelling at him, like, what are you doing? Get out there. Like, no, there's 5 seconds left.
Before that goal happened, O'Reilly scores, was it with about 6 minutes to 4 or something to go?
Yeah.
In the period. Beautiful deflection, high slot.
Bouwmeester with a great shot,
yes, but
set up by Sammy Blake getting in on the forecheck and causing a turnover.
Yep, over to Pietrangelo, wins the puck, passes over to Bouwmeester, who lets the shot go. Great tippable shot, perfect height, and
perfect deflection.
Oh my God. 5-hole on Rask. It's one of those goals that I'm sure Bruins fans are annoyed that Rask, like, oh, it's 5-hole, it's a tip, it's from a high tip, but I mean, it's a deflection. It's a nice deflection.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I was amazed at. I saw more than a few people, like, just looking at the main Twitter page for the game and seeing more Boston content in there. I was amazed at how many people are like, "Oh, here's Tuukka again, gonna cost us this game."
He was their best player in the playoffs this season.
Yeah.
By far,
yeah.
He was going to be the Conn Smythe winner.
I think if he has a better game 7, if they lose 1-0,
yeah,
I think he still wins the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, but
I'm going to say no. I mean, he was really good, but I don't think he was like. If the Blues win 1-0, you said,
yeah.
Over O'Reilly, who led the playoffs in scoring.
So I think it was decided because you have to vote in by the end of the first period, right?
Are you serious?
Is that
the rule
for the Conn Smythe? Yeah,
I thought it was second period.
First, so either way, O'Reilly's the guy that scored, right? And so he's driving the narrative at the point that they have to cast the vote.
Yeah, I thought Binnington had a shot at being the. I mean, but then
I did too.
But then I thought back to he had the one. I mean, he allowed a handful of goals in game 6. So,
yeah, I thought, because again, I mean, we talk about, Bill talks about O'Reilly. It's kind of a, what have you done for me lately? Sometimes with the Conn Smythe voting, and that's what I was thinking. I'm like, if they're going to vote at the end of the first or the second period, there's going to be people saying, just because of tonight, Jordan Binnington has got to be one of my top 3.
Yeah, but you can't vote for, he gave up 4 goals in the previous. Was it 4? Yeah, 4. Because
in the game 6. Yeah.
So you're not going to get a vote. You're not going to get enough votes.
No, probably not. But if you're
I'm not denigrating him in any way.
No, and if you're watching the game, if you're actually really, if you're not just going by stats, if you're just watching the goals go in, you might think differently of that. But I would imagine a lot of people don't.
do that. And Jordan Bennington was absolutely the number one star of this game.
Yeah,
But Ryan O'Reilly put the team on his shoulders again.
I mean, he was leading point getter in the playoffs, and he had the last 4 games. He scored the first goal of the game for the Blues. So I mean, that's clutch. I mean,
man, Buffalo is so lucky to get rid of him.
Cancer.
Do you know?
Just a cancer.
I want to go back again because I think late in the season, or maybe right before playoffs, I remember Carl Stanky.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He made a comment not long after we got O'Reilly. Only something, I'm paraphrasing. Only an inept general manager would trade for Ryan O'Reilly. And now he's the Conn Smythe winner on the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues.
Possible Frank J. Selke award winner too.
He could win 4 trophies.
Yep.
And
unreal.
What's his salary?
He and Tarasenko were both 7.5.
Yeah, that's a bar. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah,
considering what folks make.
You know what? My buddy last night was telling me about how much David Perron drives him crazy, and I said, man, I don't care. Like they win this. This was in like the second period. I'm like, they win this, they could sign David Perron to a 25-year contract extension. I don't give a shit. And same thing with O'Reilly. Like, go ahead and lock him up to the end of his life. I don't care. Whatever, give him an 8-year extension. Give him the max. I don't care, because this is. Well, again, we'll get into this, but my God, I mean, what a night! This was unbelievable.
I love a lot of aspects of Perron's game, and I love his passion, because in this game, Game 7, or in any of these games, he's always one of the more excited guys when things are going, like a goal is scored, he's on the ice or whatever, or he assists or scores a goal. Or on the bench, he's always one of the most animated as far as like being excited, and I love that. I love the passion that players show when they're celebrating. It's fantastic. Love it. So, and then Pietrangelo's goal, which came after O'Reilly's. We talked about that backhander, soft hands, beautiful pass from Schwartz.
Yeah,
just that little peek and little wrap whip pass behind him to Pietrangelo, who was let go by Marchand.
Yeah, needed that.
Yeah, we could bitch about the Marchand play as a hockey player till we're blue in the face, but at the same time, I mean, something you love. And it's funny because we were talking about how last night we were all talking about you play to the whistle, and it looked like the Bruins kind of just didn't play to the whistle there. And it's funny to say that because you think back, and I think it was 2011, maybe 2012, when the Blues lost to the Kings. And there was the goal where I think Backus turned it over, and Pollock wasn't skating. And I want to say it was Dustin Penner just blasted a slap shot. I think they ended up, it was the game-winning goal at the end of the first.
It made it
2-1.
Yep.
And it was clearly just like the Blues just stopped skating. They thought the period was over. And it's so nice to be on the other side of that for once.
I remember where we were.
We were playing poker.
We were playing poker that night.
We were playing poker during that game, which I find weird now that I was playing poker during a playoff game.
Yeah.
I think I would have a problem with focusing on the game and the poker game.
I think there was an objection about playing poker during a playoff game.
Okay.
From the person that only wanted to play poker.
Yeah. So second period, Schen's there were no goals in this period, but Schen's shot from Schwartz goes off Rask, up in the air, off the crossbar, behind Rask, and then kept out by Charstick, who kind of ticks it out of midair back towards Rask, and then
Rask like twice knocked it towards his goal.
I know.
That play. It went off his shoulder.
Rask did everything he could to try and put it in the net.
Right. I thought he really was trying to put it in.
Pietrangelo. I mean, people. I thought I'm just waiting for, because being at Enterprise and seeing that. I mean, yeah, we're watching the game on the jumbotron. It's a big screen, but it's still not like watching it at home where you can't really see up close on it and details. So I'm waiting to see a reaction of like the players. I'm like, okay, as soon as I see the players' hands go up, I can celebrate. I'm like, fuck, they didn't go in. How did they didn't go in?
Yeah, it was the same way with me. Where we were sitting, we all just jumped up and yelled goal. And wait a minute, the players are still skating. They're still going. And yeah, you mentioned Chara's stick. That was a hell of a defensive play.
So third period, 2-0 Blues, and then there's the save on Nordstrom. I can't. Nordstrom did everything right in this. I mean, asking him to try and lift it up and go half up the net is asking an awful lot because of the position he was in and how tight he was in on Bennington. He kicks the puck to his stick, and that was one of the best saves. One of the best clutch saves I've ever seen. One of the best. I mean,
absolutely.
You got Vernon with the overtime glove save that he keeps out of the net when he slides back into it. You got on the breakaway. Was it on Bure? No, not Bure. Who was it on? I'm talking about. He's with Vernon and Flames.
It may have been Bure.
Was it Bure? Breakaway. Yeah. Anyway, glove save on Bure. And he slides in that, but he keeps the glove.
Yeah.
That was a big one. Just that was. They don't get a whole lot better than that save by Bennington. That was just and the crowd went ballistic. I mean, I want to cheer at the same time. I want to say, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, that was for me. That was the moment where I was okay. They're gonna do this. I mean, they got the 2-goal lead. I think Keith Price is right. Mike Richter on Bure.
Richter on Bure. But I'm talking. That was a great one. But I'm talking the Vernon with a glove save on a breakaway that he holds. Vernon's body slides in the net and he keeps his glove outside the post.
It was Stan Smeal.
Okay, Stan Smeal. That's why I didn't remember who it was.
Yeah, but no. Anyway, that was the moment when Bennington makes that save where I think even. Probably people don't want to admit this, but I think a lot of people at that point said it's going to happen tonight. They're going to do it because that's just the kind of goaltending you need in a game like this. And I said it earlier. I put Bennington's Game 7 against any other goalie performance ever in the history of the game.
It was really good. I mean, it was a treat to watch. It really was.
Yeah, individual game, definitely the best individual game performance. I still think the best series over series goaltending performance that I ever saw in the Stanley Cup final or in the Stanley Cup playoffs was Jean-Sebastien Giguère in 2003. I mean, that guy single-handedly got them through 3 teams before running into Marty Brodeur.
Shen from Tarasenko and Schwartz, third period. I think this goal was the loudest that people are talking about the crowd being. McAvoy. If I were Boston, if I was a Boston fan, I'd be a little upset at McAvoy here. He had no defensive zone awareness on this play. I didn't think he glides in too deep, almost the top of the crease, defending nobody. And there's nobody on the wing. There's Shen in the slot, so I don't think he was aware of who was where on the play. And Shen found the soft area between the forwards and the D-man, and he right in between the hash marks when he let that shot go, bears a pass from Tarasenko, perfectly placed, far post, low to the ice, right where Rask couldn't get it. So that was a ridiculously loud crowd.
Yeah,
because that was the goal. That was like,
we did it.
We've done it. We're gonna win this game.
Yep.
It's just crazy to think about. You think about moments in Blues history. We've talked about them. How Monday Night Miracle. Great game, but they lost the series. And you say St. Louis Blues and you say the goal and you think of the Wickenheiser goal. Man, I think this might be the goal. When you say the goal, this is the goal that people are going to remember.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
also, I mean, it can't be stated enough how big O'Reilly's goal was with the Blues getting outplayed in the first period. I mean, badly. And then, I mean, to get 2 goals late, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
to come out of that first period with a 2-goal lead,
oh my God,
we totally didn't deserve it. We had 3 fucking shots.
Yeah, we should have been down 2-0.
Right.
And we were up 2-0. And again, 4 shots, 2 goals. And we were outplayed badly.
It's funny. My wife, I think I've said this on the show before. She is just super negative. She's honestly pretty tough to watch games with because it's just they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. There's no way they're gonna win this. They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. And I kept telling her, and this is the first time I've said this to her. When Bennington kept making all those big saves, I'm like, Jess, it just takes one shot. Just takes one shot. And then 2 minutes later, O'Reilly scores. And I'm like, I told you, it just takes one shot.
And how many times, being a Blues fan, did we have a situation throughout, however long, years, where, and every team has this, where your team is playing great, but you can't score. And all of a sudden, the first period's over, you outshot a team 15-4, whatever it is, and no score. And you're like, man, all those missed opportunities, we're going to look back on this period and think, what if? Because if we lose this game, it'll be because we couldn't score when we dominated. And then they could make some adjustments and come back, get the first goal, whatever. And all of a sudden, they got momentum. And that's had to have been what was going through Boston's mind. So, just both those goals. O'Reilly's goal, huge. I mean, because oh my gosh, 1-0 lead, been played, and then Pietrangelo's goal to piggyback that right like a couple minutes later.
Right,
oh God,
7.5 seconds left in the period.
Yeah, and it can't be. I tweeted this out. It can't be stated how huge that goal was because to have been outplayed and then to be up 1-0 is one thing, but then for Boston to have that level of play and then to not only be down 2-0, but to have that second goal come with 7 seconds to go in the period, to have that fresh in your mind when you're back to the locker room, that had to have been deflating. But shot-wise, Boston dominated the second period too. So, I mean, how deflating was it for them?
Not
terribly.
But the Blues had their legs. I mean, we're halfway through the game right now. They're skating and creating a lot more chances. But Boston still had their foot,
they did
firmly on the
Boston pressured most of this game.
Bill, you mentioned that the Blues just looked tired and worn in Game 6, and it was just kind of like, God, I hope they can bring it Game 7, one more game, boys. And man, when they came out in we talked about the opening of the game, they looked good. But then the first period surge by Boston was just, oh boy, here we go. But then they came out in the second and third. I think when they got that goal at the end of the first, they said, guys, we can fucking do this. And they came out hard. They came out tough. Every single time a Bruins player got the puck, he was crunched into the boards. It was purely beautiful hockey played by the Blues there in the second and third.
Yeah. Go back to the last game in the Winnipeg series. We have to go back to Winnipeg for Game 7, right? And was it?
No, 6. 6 and 1.
That was right. So we have to go back, and it's the game. It was Game 5, right? Where
Dallas we had to go.
Yeah, Game 5 in Winnipeg where we're down, and I thought we had a really good first period, right? And then they completely flat second period. Don't know what they're going to do. They're losing, and then we make the comeback. O'Reilly gets the goal, and we make the comeback. I felt like we got rewarded last night, like we didn't get rewarded in that game with good bounce goals.
Right. No, and I mean, it was nice to see the table shift
right
for the Blues, because to see, we're outplayed but we're winning.
Right. It's completely unfamiliar territory,
right? Because usually it's if we're, how many times have we seen, like I said, we outplay the other team but we can't score. That happens a lot. It happened a lot. So, and then Sanford puts the Blues up 4-0 with a from Perron and O'Reilly. This fourth goal reeked of Boston giving up. The way that nobody got back. Sanford was all alone in the back door forever. And then Perron was allowed to skate out of the corner with the puck between two Bruins players. Perron made a great play to out of the corner to come out of the corner with the puck, but he didn't get, there was not a lot of D being played there.
Right.
by Boston. So and then that's a roller hockey goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was guys not playing D. Guys,
The broken controller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Backdoor.
I'm not really. I know this doesn't fit in anywhere here, but anytime there's a slap shot reference, I feel like it needs to be made. Keith Bryce says they brought their toys.
They brought their toys.
No, man, this goal. That was the moment. I mean, and that's what's crazy to me. I mean, I know it's 3-0, and Binnington's just been playing out of his mind, but this is the Stanley Cup final. This is Game 7. I was surprised to see Boston so lax in the defensive zone. I mean, again,
it's the game, yeah.
It's 3-0. That hurts, but you get one goal, you're right back in it. You pull the goalie, maybe you can get two. I mean, it's to let him go to go down 4-0. That is just. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is between 3 and 4 in hockey that just makes it feel like, okay, this game's out of reach. 3, it's like there's a chance. 4, it was, this is over. This is over. They're going to lose, and it's.
Well, I mean,
it's crazy.
With 3 goals, I mean, you always okay. One more shot, within 2, we can pull our goalie, and then try and get 2 goals. It's happened. But down by 4, you got to get 2 before you can even really think about pulling your goalie to have a shot. You know what I mean? So there's so many things. I mean, it's one more goal, but it just seems like it's just a higher mountain to climb. The 4 goal seems like insurmountable. And how many times I bet it's just never happened. A 4-goal deficit overcome in the last 5 minutes of a playoff game. Has it ever? Probably not. So,
what was the comeback? Boston over Toronto.
I'm thinking, okay, Blues and Kings, but that wasn't. That was the last 5 minutes.
That was 3-0.
And Sharks and
Golden Knights.
Golden Knights. That was 4.
Yeah,
that's 4 goals.
Oh, it was 4. Yeah, you're right. It was 4. But again, that wasn't the last 5 minutes.
No.
Did you see? Speaking of the Golden Knights, did you see what they tweeted towards the end of the game?
No.
Boston could use a 5-minute power play here.
That's great. That's awesome. Oh, I love that Twitter account. That's fun stuff.
That was one of my favorite things to do this morning, was to go through all of the opposing teams' Twitter congratulations and that. And
see, I'm more of the I want to listen to the opposing team's sports talk radio in the morning to hear all the callers calling this bitch.
There's a lot
love
of that been uploaded to Twitter tonight. So
I love listening to that stuff. I love hearing other fans' takes. So,
you know what I'm going to love listening to is at the draft, every GM coming up and saying, we want to thank the city of Vancouver for their hospitality. It's been a great week here. Also, congratulations to the Stanley Cup Champions St. Louis Blues.
Yes,
that's going to be nice to hear.
Yeah, it's been a nice wild ride. I mean, think about it. I mean, we had the Winter Classic in 17. Well, okay, beat the Blackhawks in 16, right? In a fantastic, one of the best playoff series the Blues ever had in 16. Then the Winter Classic in 17. The fiasco last year, which was a shit show in 18. But then this year, winning the Cup. And then next year, All-Star game. So it's a nice little gauntlet of stuff that's been the last 4 or 5 years.
And again, you think about how this is going to affect the youth. You know, we talk about how just a couple of years ago they had 4 players drafted in the first round from St. Louis. I think you're going to see that again one day, because I think this got a lot of people, a lot of young kids interested in the sport, and that's only a good thing. It's only going to have the Blues fandom grow and get more people involved in hockey, which is what we love.
Grizzlick scored from Krejci. Really fantastic shot. I mean, the only shot that beat Binnington was the perfect shot.
Yeah, flutter knuckleball
off bar down.
Yeah, upper 90 bar down,
and it fooled. I mean, it didn't. I mean, it wasn't a shot Binnington should have had. I mean, it was just he's expecting more of a hard shot, and it fluttered and it crossed bar and down and in. So perfectly placed, and so then 4-1, and that was it. One penalty in the game, which we talked about. Parayko's delay the game over the glass. Whistles were put away, which I expected. Totally. I think for Boston to have Coming in, I thought for Boston to have a shot in this game, they're gonna have to get 4 or 5 power plays to win this game and convert on a couple of those. But really, they played very well most of this game. They played very well, and it was Bennington was the difference.
Yeah. If it's not for Bennington, I think Bruins come out with a lead in that first period, and it's a completely different game.
Yep. Play was kept 5-on-5, and that's all she wrote. So some stuff for this game. Shots in the first period was Boston 12, St. Louis 4. Second period, Boston 11, St. Louis 6. So through 2 periods, it was 23-10 shots for Boston. And the third period was even 10 apiece. So the final tally was Boston 33 shots, St. Louis 20. Blues won 3 of the 4 games in Boston, which was, I bet you nobody would have guessed that. How much would you, if you bet $10 on the Blues winning 3 out of 4 games in Boston before the season? I mean, what's the return on that? My God.
Yeah, that's.
But to be honest, the home ice advantage isn't a thing in the playoffs.
Well, the Blues proved that this year.
The Blues had a losing record.
They were 6-7 on home ice. Thank you. I was at 3 of those.
Didn't I hear that they're the first team to win the cup that had a losing record at home?
Yes.
Yep.
But they also they tied the most road wins in the playoffs too.
Right. I mean, and they were insane on the road. And Pierre LeBrun touched on this on Twitter today about the buildings that they were successful in. The TD Garden is a very difficult place to go in and win. Winnipeg is a terribly difficult place in San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
But Dallas, whatever.
Dallas. They're aware of hockey down there. Bennington set a new NHL record for playoff wins by rookie goalie, and that record will never be broken. It can only be tied.
The NHL goes to
best
a 5
round or best of 9. Yeah. Right.
Well, I've heard that the play-in game that they were doing in the MLB is something they're interested in the NHL. So there's a potential somebody could get 17 wins, but I hope that doesn't happen.
Bennington finished the playoffs with an 8-2 record with a 1.78 GAA and a 9.37 save percentage following a loss. And that is one of the reasons why I bet on the Blues in Game 7.
Yeah.
The odds, I mean, my $50 bet won me $77. So Bruins were heavily favored in that game, in Game 7, which I saw that and I'm like, no. I mean, yeah, the Bruins played very well, and Bennington was but the thing is that we had a Bennington. That's why the Blues.
Yeah, his resilience is the stuff of legend.
Yeah, I don't think I'd bet against Bennington after a loss ever against anybody.
No, I mean, going back to the Patrick Waugh comparison, Patrick Waugh, he did win the Conn Smythe in '86 when, as a rookie, he led the Canadiens to the Stanley Cup, and Cam Ward too. So that's kind of like, so these are your possible career paths here.
Yeah, right.
Let's go with the former.
Yeah, right.
Well, hey, I mean, Cam Ward he's had a nice career. I mean, not Patrick Waugh level, but I mean, I think either one we'd be happy with here in St. Louis.
Yeah, I'd hope for I'd be happy with something in between.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have not been this excited for a Blues goaltender since Curtis Joseph.
I agree. I would not disagree with that.
He's the guy. He's the guy. We talk on the show all the time how the Blues just don't have that franchise goalie, and it's obvious when you look at the all-time goalie stats. You know, guys come here 2-3 years and disappear or go somewhere else, and I know it's still a somewhat small sample size, but I truly believe that guy is Jordan Binnington. I mean, even if he does fall and he's, by the end of next season, he's not the starter, he's still a legend in St. Louis. He will be a legend forever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Build a statue of the save.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The Blues are, Bennington finished the play. Oh, sorry. The Blues are the 5th team in NHL history to win Game 7 of the Cup final on the road, but it's the 3rd in a row too. I think it's 09, 11, and this year.
Yeah.
So the last 3 game 7s, the road team has won.
The
Bowmeister.
The Bruins
beat Vancouver.
And
yeah.
the Penguins beat the Red Wings.
Yes.
Well, and think about the we talk about how the Blues have just defied so many odds this year, all the things that have happened. After the game 1 loss, everybody said Boston's winning because the team that wins game 1 wins like 77% of series in the Stanley Cup final. Well, that's just another thing for the Blues to come in and say, all right, well, we'll just show you that we're going to win the damn series.
I've done that in the past in series. I remember doing that a lot when the Blues were up against the Blackhawks in back-to-back years, wasn't it? LA and Chicago up 2-0 in the series, and they lost the series both times.
Mm-hmm.
And each time I remember looking at the stats saying, "Oh wow, the teams won the first 2 games on the road." And one time it was on the road. Was it LA on the road? 2 games again?
No, Chicago, wasn't it?
We won 2 games on the road in one of them.
I thought it was LA because we came back up 2-0, and then the Pietrangelo injury got boarded.
But
they scored 5-on-3.
Okay, either way,
wasn't Steen's overtime goal against Quick? Wasn't that at home? Wasn't that game 2?
That was game. Was that game 2? That was game 1.
That was later.
Was it?
That was so the series I'm talking about.
Oh, that was a different year.
Yeah. That was the first when we lost to the Kings the first time.
So anyway,
first time they lost to the Kings, they were swept.
Was it? Was it a sweep?
Yeah, they were swept in the second round after they beat the Sharks.
Either way,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Why does it matter? Because we're Stanley Cup champions.
It doesn't fucking matter because we're Stanley Cup champions. That's a good response. But no, I remember seeing the stats. Oh, the team that wins the first 2 games in the series wins the series 82% of the time, whatever it is. I'm like, oh my god. And that didn't happen either of those years. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll take stats with a grain of salt as far as like early in the series, first game, second game. I don't give a shit. Talk to me later in the series when things get tight and things get you're getting close to an elimination game. Then we'll talk about
the only stat that matters is the team that wins game 7 has won 100% of the series.
You're never. I've always said you're not really in trouble in a series until you lose a home game. I don't care if you lose the first 2 on the road, you come home. Then if you lose at home, if you're trailing a series and you lost a home game, then okay, you're kind of in trouble. But
I think we all agreed, and I think we said that on this show that when the Blues lost game 1, okay, well, just get a split in Boston. That's what you got to do. Come home 1-1 in the series, and that again, that nullifies a game 1 loss to me because
I agree. You got
you come home 1-1. It's a new series. It doesn't matter who won game 1 and 2.
And you have quote home ice advantage, which is not a huge deal, but still you have it. I've always said home ice advantage doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I almost don't want it early in the series because winning 2 games in a row to start a series is tough. And if you lose one of your home games, then all of a sudden you lose home ice advantage. But I've always said you don't. It doesn't. I don't care about. People said after we lost game 1, oh, game 2 a must win. No, it's not a must win. I mean, it's on the road. I mean, so what? Anyway, Bowmeister was. It was nice to win. It was nice to win. It was great to win. Bowmeister is 35, led all skaters in game 7 ice time with 28:34. He led all skaters in game 5 at 29:08. And was a +4 in the series. A guy
he looked good.
He looked good. He's looked good the second half of the season. And
I thought he had some rough games against Winnipeg and Dallas. I thought, oh man, that contract extension is not looking good right now. But he turned it on against San Jose and obviously against Boston. He looked great.
Yeah, great to see from a guy who my favorite line coming into this season was he should be put out to pasture.
Yeah. And I was going to say that and a lot of Blues fans wanted him run out of town past couple years.
Yeah.
Easy or more. And it turns out it was mismanagement of his injury, misuse of him while he was still hurt. All kinds of stupid stuff that you could place blame on, point fingers at. But but he's apparently got healthy for the first time in a couple of years, really. So,
yep.
Pietrangelo had 6 points, 1 goal and 5 assists in the series, and Parayko teamed up with Bomeister to shut down the Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak line, the perfection line. Which the 98.5 guys in Boston, they said, I don't want to hear anybody call them the perfection line anymore. It's a fucking joke. Because they had one even strength goal in the series. 1 point or 1 goal? They had a couple assists in game 6.
Yeah, I think there was one goal.
Yeah, one even strength goal in the series, and it was mop up time for Pastrnak when it was already 3-1.
Right.
So, yeah, Pietrangelo, they shut down the Pastrnak line, who only had 1 even strength goal. So yeah, they played great. It's funny because there were times Pietrangelo, I've not been his biggest fan. He's for his apparent role in the team, he's a little inconsistent. The blue line for me.
Yeah.
But he got it done.
He had himself a hell of a series.
He did.
I can't remember. Was it the Dallas series or was it the San Jose series? When our group text, I said, I wish Chief would just go in there and rip the fucking C off his jersey right now. He had like one bad period where he couldn't get the puck out of the zone. Yeah. And, I found myself putting a lot of the blame for game 6 on him too. Like, come on, Petro, get the damn puck out of the zone. He had a hell of a series.
Well, and when he does get the puck out of the zone, he always ices it, which drives me nuts.
Yeah. It's like,
but he had overall great series, great playoff. He looked fine, and I think if the Blues would have lost in round 1 or 2, I think there's a potential you would have seen him moved this summer if they could, because that was kind of the talk with Toronto. And I think the way Parayko stepped up, I could have seen it.
Yeah,
but I think now with him bringing a cup to St. Louis as the captain.
Nice.
I don't think he's going anywhere for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, a lot of people talk about, what winning this game 7 means to them personally. Excuse me. It was kind of funny that looking at people celebrating outside the Enterprise Center last night, I saw a lot of younger kids there. And when I say young kids, I mean like probably, early 20s. Half my age kind of thing. And I'm like, they're going nuts, they're going crazy. Oh, we finally won. I'm like, how long? I mean, okay, you may have been a fan for, you may have been a fan for what, 10 years or so at the most, something like that. 10, 12 years maybe. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I haven't persevered as long as people who have been around since, the 67. But I've put in my time, 30 some odd years. So 35, whatever it's been since I can't remember when I first actually got into it. But it's been a long time. But so, so I wanted to say, what it meant to me personally, like you guys and every Blues fan, I wanted this so bad for so long. I think about my brother and I playing, wadding up, paper in the shape of a ball and playing like hand hockey or whatever the hell you want to call it, just trying to shoot the ball past each other while we're watching a Blues game on TV on my parents' carpet when we're like, 8 years old, 10 years old. I think about doing my homework in the 80s and 90s while I'm listening on the radio because not all the games were on TV.
Yep.
I think about sitting down and combing through the Blues media guides. I buy a media guide every year, and I would just sit down and page through that thing, reading all the stats and all the pictures, photo information, and all the records and stuff. And I'm like, I loved it. Me picking the number 12 when I was started playing hockey because Adam Oates, and I modeled my game after him, and it's kind of that's who I was as a player. I was Adam Oates. I think about getting my hockey equipment out and working on it while I watched games, spreading everything out on the floor or on the ottoman, and just working on skates or pads or whatever while I'm watching the Blues game. I did that a lot. Going to Blues training camp when I was in Brentwood, 1993, and sneaking around back where the equipment bags were. with my cousin. That was weird. I felt I was doing something illegal. And it's interesting because what many consider the Monday Night Miracle, being the greatest game in Blues history, was in a series they lost. I always felt bad or weird explaining that to people. Oh yeah, the greatest one in Blues history. Yeah, Monday Night Miracle came in a series we lost. So it's kind of it was a double-edged sword there with that. I think about the Yzerman double overtime goal that people suffer through that I talk about a lot because it like scarred me emotionally. And hockey, and more specifically blues hockey, kind of molded me as a person. It was and it's a big part of my life. Made me who I am today. My personality, many of my friends, Bill and I met through hockey. Many of my favorite memories in my life were forged from hockey. The Stanley Cup was always something to me that other teams won. You know, it was something other teams got to do, and the Blues just didn't get to participate in that thing. And I had accepted that as a fan, that the Blues just weren't going to win it. That's why winning this championship for the Blues has shocked me in a way I don't know how to react, because I had accepted the fact they weren't going to win. I don't know why. It's so many years going to the well, coming up empty, and all of a sudden now you've got water, and it's like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. So I think that's why this championship was such a shock, to see it materialize, and it's taken a while to set in.
Yeah, it's I echo everything you just said, Kurt. I mean, same thing. Thinking about watching a fun story I want to share real quick. I've been asked this question before, and I'm sure you guys have too. Why do you love hockey so much? What got you into it? And so I'll tell the story. Jeff Brown was signing. This is bad. There's going to be some great references here. Jeff Brown was signing autographs at a Venture in St. Charles, and I was a big Cardinals fan. I was a big Ozzie Smith fan, big into baseball. I didn't like playing, but I loved watching. And my mom was like, "Hey, there's a Blues player here. You want to go get his autograph?" And I'm like, No. I don't really care. I mean, I was probably 5-6 years old, and she said, No. Let's just go ahead and go get his autograph. So we went and got his autograph, and he asked me if I liked hockey, and I just told him, I'm like, no, I like the Cardinals. I'm like, I watch hockey a little bit because my dad loves it. And he was like, tell you what, why don't you take your dad, go to the game tomorrow night. We got 2 tickets waiting for you at will call. So he got me tickets. My dad took me to the game. Blues, I want to say it was a 6-0 win. Brett Hall had a hat trick, and I was hooked. I mean, the goal horn freaked me out as a kid. It made me scream and like, oh my God, what the hell was that? But man, I loved it. Just watching the blades on the ice, just everything about it. And I mean, Kurt, you mentioned that hockey is such a big part of your life. Hockey, I will admit, it is my life. I mean, it sounds dumb and it sounds bad, but I do this show because I love hockey, and the show is a rather large part of my life. My job is hockey. I work in hockey retail. I'm a marketing director for a hockey company. One of my favorite jobs of all time was being the copywriter for Total Hockey back when it was around here in St. Louis. I moved to Dallas because I wanted to write about hockey, and I got a job writing about hockey. And obviously that goes into me playing too. I mean, I've played my whole life. Every time I step, I mean, that's the reason I was late to the show tonight, was I had a hockey game myself. I always said I'm going to play as long as my body lets me. And it's because I love this game so much. And it was funny. I'll admit, my team tonight, we lost 5-1. First game of the summer, we got our asses kicked. Everything everybody said at the bench was, it doesn't matter. We're fucking cup champs. Like, nobody cared. We still had a smile on our face because this is what we've all waited for. I mean, Kurt, you mentioned hockey. Hockey brought me and you together. Let's be honest. I mean, we didn't play together first. The same thing with Bill. I met you guys at the letsgoblues.com forums years and years and years ago. And we all started talking, and it was, hey, we should have some Blues coverage. Why don't we all do a podcast? That Kurt, Bill, and I, and Jeff Queer, and the former host. And that's what we did. We started a hockey podcast because there wasn't anybody doing it in St. Louis. And it's just all the years of work I put in as a reporter, all the years of being a fan and watching the team fail. It's all led up to last night. It all led up to the moment, and it's worth it. It is so worth it. And I never, like you, Kurt, and Bill, I know you're the same, I let myself believe it would never happen. I said, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. And to see it happen, and for me to be at Enterprise Center with a bunch of Blues fans, that was, I mean, Shay, if you're listening, my son, if you're listening in 20 years to this, I'm sorry to tell you, last night was the greatest night of my life. It was everything I hoped it would be. And it's kind of sad because I'm like, man, where do I go from here? You know, what do I do now that I've seen my team win it? And but you know, it's a hell of a feeling, and it's going to last all summer.
Yeah. So I'm sure I'll sound a lot like the both of you. So, you know, I've mentioned it, I don't know how many times. One of my first game as a 3-year-old in 1979, Blues versus Buffalo Sabres, fell in love with Michael Ute early. You know, as a young kid, you know, I just absolutely saw him in net for the Blues, wearing the pads, wearing the mask, and I knew from that moment on I wanted to be a goalie. And so my parents got me into playing hockey, and as soon as I could, I was the guy volunteering to be the goalie, and so that my love for the game started then. And before we went down to Game 6, I have this old scrapbook from 1980, period 1980 through 83, where my mom and I would sit down and clip pictures and articles out of the newspaper for the Blues, and I would paste them in. And looking back at it now, I have terrible like design and artistic skills even for that age. but this I still have the scrapbook today, and going back and it just reading through, seeing the pictures, it reminded me of how long I've had an emotional attachment to this team. You know, it goes back that far, and you know, just having gone through all the playoff disappointments and being conditioned, like you said, that it's never going to happen. You know, it's kind of been an awful way to live. And it's, you know, I've over the last, you know, 10 years, there have been several times I'm like, why do I keep doing this? But you do it because you love it. You love the team. And last night was the payoff. Last night was when it all became reality for us, when we got our dream. And I mean, I tweeted it out, not that I plan to do so soon, but I could die happy now. You know, it's to me, there is a sense of closure that we've finally done it. It was kind of the thing, like, will this team ever be able to win? No, it won't. Yes, it did. It's happened. And it was just, you know, I've shed a lot of tears over the last 24 hours just thinking about how long that, you know, I've been waiting for this. And at some point, so yesterday going into the game, I recorded just like brief, you know, phrases, thoughts, emotions that went through from before the game through like the entirety of the game. And at some point I'll put it in a picture and put it on Twitter, because I think it's kind of funny, just all the whipsaw emotional reaction. But God, it's yeah. I mean, I think the one thing I do feel today is, this sense of fucking, hey, we did it. I've got closure. And the fan, all the heartache and all the joy that we've had over the years is finally culminated in that game last night. And
yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's funny because when I was in the media, there was certain people, and for those of you who followed my career, know who I'm talking about. Used to give me trouble because I used to say the Blues are, they're St. Louis team. They're the fans' team, and that's why people in the media get mad when a lot of people say we when you talk about the Blues. I say the Blues just because that's how I learned to do it. I don't say we as much. Like Kurt, I know you do, and that's great. I love it because it is we. It's our team. But some gentlemen in the media did not like that. They always said, "Oh no, it's the guys on the ice. It's the guys." No, it's everyone. It's all of us. We are Blues fans. We are the St. Louis Blues. This is our championship.
Brett Hall has said many times that without the fans, there is no game. So, and so many fans have an emotional attachment to the team, and an investment in the team. I mean, not just financially, it's emotionally. And you live and die with the success and the failures of the team. So, and for someone to say that you can't say we, it's like, no, I'm there rooting as hard as anybody. And I get as upset and emotional when they win and when they lose as anybody. So, I mean, last night when they won, I teared up when I was celebrating, and I'm like, don't tell me I can't say we. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Exactly. No, and I mean, it was weird. I cried when the Blues went to the Cup final. We talked about this a couple shows ago, and I was just like, God, I'm going to be a freaking baby when they win tomorrow, or when they win the Cup. And I actually was so busy celebrating, I never got emotional last night. It was shocking. But I will say, if you guys had the NBC Sports app, they did, because I know the TV coverage, they cut away for a while when the players were celebrating. Well, on the NBC Sports app, they have it all uncut of all the players skating around with the cup, and it ends at when Berube picks it up and Armstrong. So you get to see all the players with the cup. And I was watching that today. I watched it 3 times. And I did cry. I finally cried. I think the power of the moment last night, I was so caught up in, oh my God, and this is so great, that I didn't really have time to really process it. And today, when I'm watching the replay of them skating around, I processed it, and the tears came pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think after the initial celebration and the euphoria was over for me, I just kind of stood there with my kids, and I'm just kind of just staring and looking around, just taking it all in. And that's when I teared up. I was just like, looking at all the people and looking on the video screen and seeing what was going on. And I just kind of just sat there and enjoyed it, just looking. And it kind of hit me.
Let me ask you, because you were at Enterprise with me last night.
Yep.
We obviously weren't sitting together, but when they won and they're skating around, and I know the joke that we've been saying is, what do we do now? Like, I don't know what to do. And I seriously was like, my buddy John was like, hey, you guys ready to go? And I didn't say it out loud because I didn't want to sound crazy, but I'm like, I don't want to leave this spot. I want to stay right here and never leave, because this is the spot that it happened. This is the greatest moment of my life, and I don't want it to end. I don't want to go out in the concourse. I don't want to continue the night. I want to stay right here and watch these guys celebrate the cup all night.
Yeah, as long I had the same kind of feeling that as long as you're there in your seat, or standing there inside the arena, it's still on. The moment is still going on.
Yeah.
But as soon as you walk away from your seat and walk towards the concourse, then you're moving away from it, right?
Yep.
So, which is not really the case, but it just felt that way.
Yeah, it's again, like, I mean, we've seen the Cardinals win, and those were unbelievable moments to witness those in our lifetimes. But this was just something different. And I know it would have been the same way if we would have been home last night and watched it, you know, and they won. And okay, let's go out, let's go celebrate. It would have been hard for me to leave the spot I was at because it's just no, I can't move. I don't want to leave the spot ever.
I think as soon as the game was over, well, after the cup ceremony and everything, and that was done, I almost wished I could blink myself back home to watch the coverage, just to watch, you know, because they didn't really have that on there.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch the interviews and the post game analysis, and I wish I have recorded here at home, and I'll watch it eventually. But I wanted to just hear people talk about it, you know, like kind of like we're doing tonight.
I just had a thought, and you guys tell me I'm crazy if you want, but for those that aren't aware, we are not going anywhere. We still have summer shows. I will be doing an interview series with people from around the hockey world, as you say, bloggers, podcasters from all of the teams. And I just want to throw this out there that something I'd like to do every episode that might be fun. If you want to do what we just did, you want to voice how you felt, you want to talk about your first hockey memory, you want, you know, anything you want to get out about being a fan, about what last night meant to you. Kurt, let's work on, I don't know, radio, let's go blues, I guess.com. Email us, watch us on Twitter. We'll get this out.
You want to try
yeah, no, I will read. I will get to 30. There's going to be 30 episodes this summer. If I have 30 people message me, I will read each one on each episode.
Radio at letsgoblues.com.
He got it right.
Yeah, or I'm sure you can DM Jeff or the show on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll put a tweet out as a reminder to everyone. But yeah, I think that'd be a fun way to open each episode. Just kind of what last night meant to you, because obviously Kurt, Bill, and I have a platform where we get to voice this, but you don't. So I will give you one this summer.
A couple of comments in the YouTube chat. F117 Nighthawk. Is that a plane? I guess it sounds like a plane.
I think so.
That's what I did. Left my house, watch party to hit up the bars. Unfortunately, I live in Colorado where most places were closing. I was that drunk girl screaming "Go Blues." Yeah, and that's the way I kind of was in Florida after Game 5. Granted, there was a handful of Blues fans in the bar I was in, but afterwards, when I walked out of the bar, it was quiet because it was a resort and stuff was kind of shutting down. But I just left the bar and I just pumped my fist, going yes, real loud, and people were looking at me. There were some Blues fans walking around, and they got it. But it was kind of an odd. I felt out of my element a little bit, where I was just like, as opposed to last night after leaving Enterprise. Oh my God. It was like it sounded like the Armageddon nuts. I was in the parking garage. It took me forever to get out of the parking garage. Hour maybe to get out of there. It was bad. But then once we got like a block away from the parking garage, it was fine, which was really strange. But the windows were like halfway down, and we were listening to, and there were constant horns and chants and commotion, fireworks. I assume there were fireworks and weren't guns. I hope there were fireworks. It's St. Louis, so you never know. But it was quite surreal to experience that, and so yeah, we took.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we took my kids, dropped them off, and then we went back to St. Louis to hang out and have a few beers at Ballpark Village. So it was. I
was there all night. I don't know how I missed you.
I had blue neon glasses on. I'm like, surely he'll see me. I texted it, but apparently you were a couple.
It was a celebration last night. It was pretty nuts. Yeah, we were at, as I said, we were at Enterprise. We walked out, and we had a buddy that was texting us to go out to a bar in West County. And we were like, yeah, we could do that. And then one of my friends, luckily, was over at Ballpark Village and was like, because we were talking about that. We're like, no, there's no way. It's going to be too crowded. They probably won't let more people in. My buddy was like, dude, everyone's leaving now. Like, people are going to other places. Like, you should just come down here. So we went down there. We're like, yeah, we'll do that. Maybe a half hour, then go down to this bar in West County, and that place was hopping mad. I mean, it was so much fun. Random people with champagne glasses or champagne bottles, just walking around, handing it to other people. Hey, here, take a drink. I mean, bartender, very nice girl. I used to visit her at her last establishment. She saw me and she's like, "Hey, you're the big Blues fan." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Drinks on me." I mean, there was a guy that bought me a beer or bought me a shot. Didn't even know him. He just goes, "Hey, man, you need a shot." I was like, "All right." He buys me a shot. I buy him a beer. I mean, it was just unbelievable the love this city had last night. And just, as I said, the walk to Ballpark Village. My buddy at the West County bar, we texted him like, "Dude, get your ass down here. We're not coming to you. You come to us." and he did. And I'm glad he did, because we celebrated like crazy people last night. And it was, one of the best nights of my life. Just unreal.
Were you at the PBR?
We were at the Shark Bar.
Oh, see, I was in PBR.
Well, damn.
That's why. There was I didn't know that. There was an inflatable cup being passed around PBR.
Oh yeah, there was one at Shark Bar too.
Maybe the same one.
Yeah.
It got passed around. I carried it on for a while. That was kind of neat. Had a guy offer to trade a rally towel from that night's game for my light up blue neon glasses I was wearing.
Yeah.
And I turned him down. I was like, "Well, that's a pretty good trade, actually, but I kind of like these glasses."
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when I go to games, I obviously wear jerseys, and and a lot of times I'll go out, afterwards, and I'll spill beer on my jersey or something, and I'll be like, "Ah, damn it!" Last night I'm wearing one of my favorite jerseys, my Chris Pronger white jersey from like the 2000-2001 era, and I mean, obviously I had champagne, booze, everything poured all over me all night. Didn't give a shit. Got home, reeked of alcohol, just threw the jersey off, and I'm just like, I don't even care. Like, I'll clean it tomorrow. Maybe I'll just frame it if I can't get the smell out. I mean, I didn't even care. It was just an unbelievable time to be in the city.
I think I parked illegally too. I'm not sure. I mean, but the way I figured it, that there was enough stuff going on, and I don't think anybody was writing parking tickets that night. There were probably a lot of cops directing traffic and dealing with commotion. I don't think anybody's walking around writing a parking ticket.
Yeah, and the parking bureau has hours.
Yeah,
well,
they don't work after hours.
Well, I think it was weird because I was in an area where it was chalked off. It was a white box where the cars can park, and there were cars parked in there, and there was one spot open, so I took it. But then there was a sign on this post that said no parking both directions. And I was like, that's weird, because there's lines marked off for cars to park here, and there were other cars parked there, so I parked anyway, and it was fine.
I think part of it too, honestly, and I know a lot of anti-cop folks will not agree with this statement, but I do think a lot of it last night was easily maybe police looking the other way on some stuff, because it's just, hey, you know what? Everyone's having a great time. No one's rioting. No one's, getting in fights. Just, that kind of stuff. Let's just let it go.
Did you get the paper giveaway at the Enterprise last night?
I did not get the giveaway, but I did get the paper today.
See, I didn't get the paper today. I was going to go out and do it, and I didn't do it, and they were all sold out.
It's funny because I went to the Walmart by me, and my wife was like, "There's no way they have it." So I went to where they have the paper. All they had was the pullout, like the actual paper itself. It was gone. Like somebody took the paper without the little extra on the Blues winning the cup, and that was the only one left. And I'm like, well, I didn't give a shit about the paper. I just want this. So the guy even laughed at me. He goes, "Oh, you don't, you're gonna buy that? It was $5." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'll probably just throw the paper away. This is the only thing I wanted." So it actually works out.
Was that the extra edition, or was that the normal paper? Because there was one that was released at like 10:30 last night.
Yeah, this was the one that came out today.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I had the giveaway that was at the arena edition or whatever it was called.
You got one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I tried so hard to find one. By the time we got outside, they were all gone.
They were giving them out. I fought through a sea of people. It was like I was at a college house party, holding a cup around a keg, waiting for them to fill it up, and that's the way it felt. 'Cause I was like, had my hand out there, just there was hundreds of people just around this person giving out papers, and I finally got one. And then I walk 30 feet, 40 feet the direction, and I see people giving away with no crowd. I'm like, oh fuck, okay. Could have stood over there. That didn't. Okay, whatever. I got mine. But and it's interesting because the stadium edition paper, the picture on the front is a picture from warm-ups. You know, something they print up that there's no stories or articles. It's all pictures. So it's just I mean, they can't really write anything because it's just it's a mock front page of a paper. So, but it's cool.
Yeah. So something else that I wanted to touch on too was that obviously everyone knows the alumni, how much this meant to them. So many of them were at the game last night. And then a lot of them just have come into town because it's just such a big deal. So, you know, some know that my boss is actually Bryce Salvador, the company I work for, former Blue. And so I texted him this morning and I'm like, man, I just want to tell you, like, I'm happy for you. You know, I know that you don't live here. You're not, you know, technically a Blue anymore. You know, you retired with the Devils, and he's like, no, man, this is great. This is everything I hoped it would be for your city. And then last night, Brent Johnson was tweeting about the game, and I messaged him, and I just said, hey, man, it's kind of same thing. You know, hey, Blues alumni, man, like, I wish you were here to witness this. This is unbelievable. And he was just like, yeah, I know. This is crazy, and I'm so happy for the city. I mean, seeing so many of the alumni be so excited for the city is magical. It's so much fun to see these guys root the Blues on like they're still a part of the team.
And they won it for Bobby, which was cool.
And again, why was that narrative never talked about?
It was real.
Like they showed him on in the coverage of him holding the cup, and they just didn't even say anything. It just, oh, let's talk about, you know, Sanford's goal or whatever. And I'm like, how has this not been the story that they've been pushing? Like, it should be. It's the best story there is.
Yeah. It's not a household name, you know, outside of St. Louis, unfortunately. And they had the chance to make him a household name and they didn't do it.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's a shame because it blows the story for Thornton out of the water. You know, I mean, a guy who had a chance to play for the Cup and, you know, a couple years ago and didn't get it done. But hey, let's give him another chance and let's win it from this time. No.
Good Canadian boy.
Whatever. I mean, he's
Bobby Plager.
Yeah. So, but Plager, yeah. And he's, you know, Thornton. Whatever. Plager is an original Blue. Lives in the city. The fans love him. The community loves him. He's an institution. He is, and it's just so much more. It's such a better story. I don't get it. Like you said, Bill. People don't know him outside St. Louis as like they would. So I get it, I guess, in that respect. But it's a shame because they could have at least done a story on it. I don't think they did.
Yeah, I mean, they may have on one of the games that I didn't catch all of the extra stuff on, but you know, hopefully it's not something where they're, you know, like, well, if we talk about him, we got to talk about the time that he went up to the crowd and, you know,
and that's
exactly
the guy with his own shoe.
Exactly what my point was going to be. They fucking run Mike Milbury out there every fucking night. And during this playoff run, and yeah, he beat a guy with his own shoe. just a great story.
It's hilarious.
Tell those stories.
Yeah, you know what? I think people do embrace the old time hockey, the back in the day brawls. I think, or even fighting in the stands, which I guess you don't hear him. You don't hear Milbury talk that narrative talked about with Milbury at all. The fight in the stands. But I mean, I think people are. It's not like it's almost like, well, that's hockey, or that was hockey. Mm-hmm. If it happened today, oh my God, there'd be lawsuits and people would be in jail, and suspended forever.
Well,
that kind of a thing.
I mean, the Plaguers did go to jail over that.
Bobby didn't. Bobby hid in the locker room, hid in the bathroom stall.
Yeah, Barkley did.
Barkley did.
Yeah.
Yep. I want to add to that next week, for those interested, I imagine we're going to do another show next week, right?
Yeah, I think we got to do a season recap.
Because I think a lot of people, there's been, not a lot, we've had some people in our chat kind of ask us, all right, what do they do this summer? RFA, UFA, all that.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that tonight.
Onto that tonight.
Yeah, well, this show would be going till 3 if we got into that tonight. So
what did they do with Jake Allen?
Yeah, next episode we'll talk more about that. Tonight's more of a holy shit. This is actually happening. Let's discuss it.
F117 Nighthawk says yes, it is a plane. So there you go. And she got a Cardinals tattoo in Dallas after we won in 2011. I guess I should go to Boston to get my Blues tattoo.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, Dallas and the Cardinal tattoo is a little different than Boston, the Blues tattoo. Go to what? Iron Age is a pretty good one in the Loop.
Oh, go to our friend Lynn McNew.
Or Lynn McNew in Belleville.
He Almighty Tattoos? That's where he works, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, let's see our buddy Lynn. He's a good dude, big hockey fan. Unfortunately, he's a Red Wings fan, but still a good guy.
What else we got? We're probably about ready to wrap the show up.
Yeah, I just have one thing to add. So we talked about the summer shows. And again, like I said, we're going to have a show next week. We'll talk about the season, free agency. Obviously, we'll probably talk about the parade. But I want to add that either way, the first episode of the summer series will start next week, because if we're going to do 30 shows, we got to start getting them out of the way here. So I don't know when we'll do our live show, but the day after, or maybe before. I haven't figured that out exactly yet. The first episode will air. That is going to be the LA Kings. I talked with Eddie Garcia of the Puck Podcast, and have a great discussion. And what's funny, Kurt, I was telling you this, and Bill, I think I told you too, that so many of the discussions that I've already had, they talk about how they wish St. Louis could get a cup. So many of these people, and I'm like, man, I don't have to go back and cut all that out now. But then I actually went back and listened to a little bit of my discussion with Eddie that'll appear next week. And it's actually kind of nice to hear. It's like, now that it's over, now that it's done, the Blues have a Stanley Cup championship, hearing these people talk about how great it would be for this city and how great it would be for the organization. So yeah, it might seem weird. It's a little outdated in that sense, but
I think it's cool. I think it's neat. I think it's neat to hear that because people know that this was being talked about while the Blues were in the part of their run, and I think it's neat to hear those comments and then have it come to fruition. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Eddie and I did ours in I think it was in April, early April, like the playoffs. I don't think he'd even started yet, and it's funny to hear it because it's like, oh yeah, well, when the Kings won their cup, it was such a great feeling, and I can't wait until Blues fans witness that too. And it's, well, by the time this episode airs, they are feeling it. It's fantastic. So be on the lookout for that next week. Like I said, we'll do a live show again, and then I will also release. So we'll have 2 episodes next week. So look out for that.
Schleifen in the YouTube chat says, I never got over the Eisman goal until last night, which is a great point. Mornil the Calyx. Pick an easier name for me to say. The first experience with hockey was the Monday Night Miracle. Through the many years since then, nothing compares to last night's. It doesn't really even seem real. And I think a lot of people are echoing that sentiment we had earlier about it. Just it's not fully hit us. It doesn't seem real. I think maybe it'll seem real once I get my replica Stanley Cup I got in the mail coming. It'll be here tomorrow. My 2-foot high Stanley Cup. Gonna put it on a nice little table in the corner right there. I can look at it all the time.
It'd be beautiful.
Oh yeah. We close on our house on Monday. Where I'll be moving. So you South County folks, look out. You got a Jeff Ponder coming to the neighborhood.
I think they can spray for those. Can't they spray for those? Like you see the truck going down the street with the spray in the or is that mosquitoes? I thought it was for
yeah, it's usually if you just keep your house clean. I don't appear. But no,
put the food away. Don't leave the food out all night.
No, so we're closing on Monday, and I have been holding off buying Stanley Cup Champ stuff, and I already told my wife the minute that I'm told, well, the closing's done, I'm pulling out my phone, I'm buying hats, I'm buying shirts, I'm buying cup replicas, I'm buying everything I could think of.
Yeah,
get right back into credit card debt.
Yeah, that's one thing. What we did after the game, after soaking it all in, watching all the celebrations, we went and hung out with all of probably 200-300 close new friends at Dick's in Fairview, and I got Stanley Cup Champs t-shirts. Nice. No hats. I was very disappointed. I really wanted one of those hats. So
buy them online.
Yeah,
same price. I think.
Right.
Dick's. You went from Dick's.
Yeah. I'll be ordering online tomorrow.
I did that today. I got a shirt and a hat coming. And Bennington bobblehead, which apparently not going to come for a while because they got to make them yet. But
yeah, October.
Yeah, I heard. Well, the one site I saw said September. Yeah, which is interesting.
The guy I golfed with today ordered Ann O'Reilly and Bennington, and he said I didn't pay attention to it until the order was done, and it said expected delivery October.
Yeah.
So, I made sure to get my my Game 5. I'm trying to show you the camera there. My Game 5 paper. It said, "What a trip!" So I will be framing this as well. I love this one. It's fantastic.
That was a great troll job.
If anybody didn't get any of the newspapers that the Post put out, because I've got a number of newspapers here framed in my office in the studio that from past games and stuff, and I got a couple from this season, this run too. But the Post-Dispatch, you can go there and you can buy prints of past issues,
right?
Select pages,
right?
So you can, and they can come glossy or whatever, so you can frame them. It's kind of a nice deal. You can buy like 8x11 or 11x14 or whatever it is, and frame them up. So that's kind of a neat keepsake if you want to do that. And they're not that bad. I mean,
I wonder if they're doing that with the handout from last night. If you can order,
they are because I was able to order the actual Arena Edition from when the Blues made the conference finals.
Yep.
I ordered that one online. The paper itself was only $5, but I think shipping was like $8. So I paid $12 for a 4 or 6 page paper, but it was fun.
That's worth it.
Yeah.
I also before we close up shop here, I obviously you're not going to be able to touch on everyone, but a lot of our friends and fellow Blues fans that do a wonderful job with their coverage. Obviously, all the podcasts out there. Big congratulations to you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to cover another championship overall podcasting. St. Louis Game Time. You guys do a freaking unbelievable job, and I'm so happy you guys were able to cover a Stanley Cup championship. And then, of course, the reporters, Jeremy Rutherford, Lou Korak, Andy Strickland, all guys that are friends of the show, as I say. Just awesome. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but in the coverage last night, you could see that I saw Jeremy Rutherford. They handed him the cup. He was able to lift it right there on the ice. And I know that was a very cool moment for him. So congrats to all you guys too. And it's just enjoy it. This is going to be one hell of a summer.
Some of our other podcasts, the Teal Town congratulated the Blues and wished us well, or was happy to see us happy, I guess. So that's cool. Thank you very much. The good guys over there. Kayla Martz, the Red Wings podcaster that we had on earlier this season, also congratulated us for being Blues fans, I guess. Yeah. It's always weird when someone congratulates a fan on the championships. Like, oh, thank you. I watched. But I get it. What else are you going to say, right? So
I also want to add, too, I know our friend Mark Allred, he's the Black and Gold podcast. he listens to our show on the regular, not even just during the Stanley Cup final. Mark, big congrats to you, man. I know covering the Cup final was fun for you, and Boston had a hell of a series, and great series. And I know it's weird, but like, what do you say to a fan of the team? But Mark, you do a great job over there at the Black and Gold podcast, and I urge you Blues fans, if you want to hear a good Boston take on the series, give him a listen.
Very good. Okay, I think that'll do it for our post Stanley Cup final show, which was a show that I had my doubts about having, past few years. So, but I'm glad it came to happening. So it's been fun. It's a good one.
We talk about framing the newspapers. Is there a way that we can frame this podcast?
I don't. It's a yes. I'm sure we can figure it out. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a digital picture frame with sound.
Oh yeah, there you go. Just like a loop.
Right. I don't know how many people I saw last night saying that they were going to get a digital
frame
and just have the Marchand crying on the bench gift.
Oh, I've got one back here.
Yeah,
a number of images and stuff that I've made for the show and that we've had on the show or promoted the show with or whatever. And I could, I need to update it.
That needs to go on there.
Yeah,
agreed.
Oh,
cool.
God, I hope Boston doesn't come back now.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes to go in the game we're replaying. So I got
I think about what our mindsets are going to be like next season. We talked about it a lot during this playoff run. You're just kind of waiting for the Blues to screw it up because that's what we're used to. Is it going to feel different next year? Are we actually going to? I mean, yeah, I think every team's fans has their doubts, but it's always been different with Blues fans, and I'm sure it was the same thing with Capitals fans. How does it feel? How does it feel to go? Well, hey, they won last year. Crazy.
Well,
we don't feel entitled.
No, don't turn into the stereotypical Boston fan
or Red Wings fans.
Red Wings fans.
They were the worst.
They came down to earth.
They've come down to earth hard.
Yeah, they've had some struggles the past few years. So this has been fun. This has been a blast.
Hey, a big again, weird, but congrats to you guys. This show has been not only a success, I think, in terms of the people that listen to the show would agree, but you guys do a phenomenal job. And I always love coming on the air with you guys. It's been fun, and what a hell of a season.
Yeah, I agree. And like I mean, it's as fun today as it was when we first started doing this, when just to talk hockey. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like the one new fan we had earlier this week said, go back and listen to the January shows.
Yeah.
I plan on doing that this weekend for sure.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see where we were late December, early January.
Yeah.
Those few shows.
Yeah.
And how where our takes were. And I remember saying a few things, and they someone went back and did listen to them, and they asked us some questions, and I was like, well, I do remember saying I didn't want to. I really hated the idea of trying to move some big names. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I was being stubborn about it. I liked the roster. I thought that we should be a whole lot better than we are, and I just didn't. I hated to see us break the team up. But
damn good thing they didn't.
Yeah, I know. So kudos to Armstrong for not having a itchy trigger finger with moves. So he helps.
That's definitely something that I wanted to mark on this show too. Is I have been Doug Armstrong's biggest critic. Bill, you've been there too. Kurt, you have in the past as well.
Not as much as you guys, but yeah,
not nearly as much.
No,
but,
absolutely.
I flat out said on this show in December, why the hell is Doug Armstrong still this team's GM? He should be fired. And you know what? I'm glad I was wrong, and I will fully admit it now that I don't care about his past. what the moves he's made, the signings that we questioned. He brought the city a cup, and for that, I will forever be grateful to him. Thank you, Doug Armstrong. Keep up the excellent work, sir.
Yes. Shall we count it down?
They say, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done.
That took more than 1 second.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, when you say 1, it's 1.9. What are you gonna?
Right.
So yeah, we just watched the Blues win all over again. So it's a fitting ending of the show.
Something tells me that I will be doing that a lot this summer.
So yeah, this was a long show.
It was.
We watched the entire game.
It was. Well, there's no commercial. There's no intermission
Right.
breaks and stuff. So it's cut by about half an hour.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for listening to us, tuning in, and we don't do this just to talk to ourselves.
No, but
we could do that with
we
all
did.
the equipment.
We did initially.
Yeah, we did. No, I agree. It's every time I know I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I met a listener of the show over at Sam's Club. He recognized me by my crazy beard, and then every now and then I do see somebody who says, "Hey man, love the show, keep it up." A lot of times it's on the hockey rink, the teams I'm playing. It always means a lot. So Josh Webster, like you said, you saw me at the Game 1 watch party. You didn't come up and say hi. Please do. Anybody you see me and you tell me you like the show, it always makes my day. And I really appreciate everybody that listens to us. And three guys who never went pro, but I guess kind of know the game a little bit.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for listening, everyone. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Kurt Price. That will conclude this championship edition of Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, we're Stanley Cup champions. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Play Gloria all summer. Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at fourth.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number 1. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again.